The big kahunas, they're locked, they're loaded, they're ready to go. Take it over, gents.
I'm actually not sure. I was kind of looking at a couple of stocks there with the Fonz thing, but
is this a happy day?
Yeah, I feel like we're the old heads that should know all about the Fonz, but it's a happy days. The market just took out 20. Okay, the Nasdaq just took out 20,000.
Henry Winkler.
Legend, absolute legend. We lost a couple of legends yesterday, man.
Yeah, man, we lost Pete Rose.
Yeah, Pete Rose and Dikembe Mutombo.
83 years old, Pete Rose. There.
Yeah, and you know he's a Hall of Famer in my book. I'm going to leave it at that. But the market, hey, the market's trying to make a move back into the upside here. So respect to the Nasdaq for only being down 1.25%, because if you looked at everything that was going on today, we know obviously the geopolitical news was not good, and there's still headlines coming every 5 seconds. So that hasn't really changed too much. Just looking across the board, like right now, when we're above 20,000, the first thing I'm looking at is, okay, this is the bottom range of the Nasdaq. So there's it breaking above the entire resistance for the morning or the half the session. So the things that are making lower highs that have not gotten back to that level, I like them for weakness. Something like an AMD in here. Like there's AMD 161 resistance, it's making a lower high. So if we lose 20,000, that's a name I want to be short. On the other side of the coin, I guess we're going to talk about Tesla's probably on the list anyways. No, but on the other side of the coin, it's like Tesla broke out of that range. So if you've broken out of that range where we were in the bottom, then I don't want to fight it. But if you are underneath that range, then I want to look for some short setups. And I feel like it's the chips and everything else. Like the chips are under VWAP. A lot of things are trying to recover over it. NVIDIA's underneath. I guess Apple's underneath because of that news. I just looked up, and Apple and NVIDIA were exactly the same percent down, 3.32% to the downside. So I'm kind of divvying things up that way, what is strong, what is not. And Beer Producer in the chat just said coin SSR bounce.
Beer Producer.
Coin did go down 10%.
Crypto's at 62 right now.
It got there. It did get there, didn't it? I didn't notice that. That's a good look. Right off of 10% down, Coinbase. I didn't realize it went 10% down. Wow.
Yeah, so we went out for a walk with my guy Adam over there. We had a great time. I have some sad news though to show everybody. Right when we left, we were long Google right here, and I was playing against that bottom of the day. We had a couple hundred shares, and we got stopped out almost immediately. So we went for a walk here as it was coming down. We averaged into the trade, and then we got stopped out only to come back. And I thought I would have a winner on. I guess I could have checked more Trader TV, but unfortunately we got stopped out. But then we started this little short off VWAP until eventually it got stopped out. We were lucky enough; it only got stopped out over the last 10%. I was actually sitting here on the midday show taking this trade, and it was a good one until eventually it was not. Now we're back into the short. We're short the futures right now. We were just actually short on this name. We've just been getting in and out. We're just a little short again. Puke on itself early this morning. Well, we're basically back to those. First of all, we had Apple. We had some of that problem. But then we had, the negativity just start to come through. This was one of, and we're talking about the Middle East stuff. Apparently right now in Israel, again, I haven't been paying too much attention. Sharif was showing me some of the videos there, the rockets flying over. I just hope everybody is safe, obviously, but that story seems like it's never going to end. I hope it does. But right into this area, $70. So I kind of want to be short the Nasdaq in here against some of this level. So I was going to give it to 70, maybe even a little bit higher, avoiding that top wick. But let's be short the TQQQs here until we get some love like this, like 70, 20. So we'll start to take more shares as we get closer, but I do want to give this up to 70.20. So where would that be on the Nasdaq? Kind of in here, 20,050, 20,060 or so. So if you're trading the actual contracts, I'm going to try to go short here. Now it's a break of my strategy because we're above VWAP, but the market's down. I don't know. Is there enough reason for this market to rally into the close? I don't know. Down 1% doesn't seem like it's enough. I think we can go lower. So we'll sit here trading. We're short right now, basically right here. We're 10 cents out of the money. We'll take a few more shares here in the high 90s, but 70.20 is my kill zone. Let's hope we don't get it right there. But that's where I'm going to stop out in and around 20,500 I guess. No, 20,050.
I do the same thing.
20,050. Yeah, 20,500 would be.
Yeah, that'd be a bigger.
Then I better be out of my short by the time that happens. Or
if
else
we get to that,
I got a few more problems, if you know what I'm saying.
No, we're not getting to that level. That would be a pretty epic move if we got to 20,500. I do believe, are we locked and loaded to get on over to the screen? We've got Sharif over there, so let's get this party started. Hey. I don't know why.
Yes, let's welcome everyone to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where they decide what we talk about. As you saw, the big kahunas are locked and loaded, and they're ready to look at the names as decided by you. So join us during the midday show and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. Let's start with the triple Qs right here. You can see making its move back into VWAP. Last I looked, though, the NQ was down well over 1%. The ES about 0.75%. I think it's changing as we speak. The Dow performing the best of the bunch. Last time I looked, 0.16, about 1/5% in the negative, and the Russ really taking it on the chin today. 1 1/5 in the negative is the Russell 2000 as small caps take a bigger hit than they have been lately. As we talked about, double bottom looking like they're on the triple Qs. Fantastic look. But as the first taker as decided by you guys, Tesla. And there's really no specific catalyst today, but we saw better EV data coming out of China with Li Auto, XPEV, and Zeekr reporting record deliveries as well. We know that Q3 deliveries are going to be released awfully soon by Tesla, not exactly sure when, and we're all still waiting for that 10/10 event, October 10th, slated to be, guys, the release of the Robotaxi.
Yes, sir.
Geez, that was like an essay over there. I was like, when is this guy going to stop? I mean, he went over futures. Around. He went over Tesla.
No, he's not playing.
He said something about Arsenal. I mean, this guy's all over the place. Right there. Thank you, Sharif. For
can't believe he called football not a real sport. Like, that was interesting. That was an interesting call. Yeah, I didn't even know what to do with that one. Okay, so now he's talking.
I played high school football.
So now he's yelling over there about blah, blah, blah. Okay, what? Yo, it's fine. No, but seriously, like,
wow, blah, 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 blah.
What?
Wow,
I mean,
okay.
Look, I respect all athletes. Like, I'm not a person like, this is not a real sport. I like the sports I like, but like, don't call one sport not a real sport. Like, come on, man. Football's not a real sport. I'm just saying, man. Tesla's strong.
I mean, I hate to hear his opinion on baseball.
Well, that's what, like, it is what it is, man. Like, at least pick on baseball if you want to say what's not a real sport. Like, pick on baseball.
Well, we're picking on the futures right now, but go ahead with Tesla. But we're short the futures. No, it's printed.
Tesla over under this 257. This was the opening range, bottom, which was support level. So I feel like it's still a relatively strong stock, not one I would be fighting, but this is the big one, the big level for Tesla. At least it has been the last few days. Like, there's your pivot point yesterday. If it holds back above 57, I think it's going to be in the strong bucket of stocks. I'm only short this level on Rivian and Intel because they're both underneath VWAP and relatively weak. But Tesla down 2%. The 50 level still has buyers, and the 57 is still ridiculously significant as you're seeing the battle being waged here. The Robotaxi event, I do feel as if it's having a lot of trouble making that next breakout of those mid-60s. Because the mid-60s right now, until you get to earnings, until you get the event, I feel like there's some people that probably are taking some profit off in what's been a very good run. I don't want to say spectacular because, no, it's a pretty spectacular run for Tesla. A lot of these moves are fantastic. Let's be real about it. From about a 190 into 260, very clean from August. And looks like there's some profit takers still in this price range until we actually have the event in just a couple weeks.
All right. Yeah, we didn't trade any Tesla today. We actually wrote it down on here, I believe, 260 long. Well, I mean, that obviously came and went. We were lucky enough to not have sat there. And this is the thing. When you're going to make notes about what trades you like to look at, you got to make sure that you're not like, if you're stuck long, like we had written on here, long NVIDIA, long TQQs, short apples. We had that one right. But other than that, we had a bunch of longs. So as this market was literally falling all over itself, so was Tesla. So we avoided this 260 long. The reason why I did, oopsies. The reason why I did like it, though, just goes back. We talked about where it was closing yesterday up here, 261. Oh, sorry, right into here, 260. That's 261. We thought that we'd have some kind of support in and around here, 259, 260. But that didn't even think about holding and just kept on going down. So, like, every dollar, there might have been a little bit of a bump. But at the end of the day, Tesla finally found its home, and it was very temporary down there at 249. And I remember when Tesla was there, I was like, what? Tesla's at 249? Like, that seemed way too low, and it looks like it was. Nice little bottom pick there on Tesla. I think this is one of the better ones from the bottom right now. We knew Tesla was going to be a strong name, heading into robo-taxi land. But I still wonder, like, down 2%, I just like, has a lot of the oomph come out of this stock? We're already at these levels. You know, I can trade support and resistance all day here. It's what we do on the show. And if you're holding a position, this to me looks like it's at resistance right now. Bumping its head, bumping its head, bumping its head. You know, eventually, I feel like this falls back in. So for me right now, let's keep Tesla on the side. But, you know, I don't really know what to do. I'd rather see this thing north of 60. I'm going to give this one a breather here. We're trading the futures, but I do like Tesla. I'll look at this in a little bit, but let's run through these names. There's some important names on there that I think a lot of you will be interested in.
Yeah, we got the futures next, Sean. Here, the SPY obviously finding some support there off the lows and breaking that neckline, looking possibly to move up. In case you're wondering what is going on, obviously this is the headline. Iran attacks Israel with missiles. Middle Eastern tensions escalate. We were covering that for you guys on the How to Trade Midday show. Nothing really has changed since then, but a nice little recovery, guys, on the futures.
Oh. So, like, the SPY just broke. I mean, obviously the Nasdaq broke 20,000. So if you hear us talking about the market, that's usually what we're looking at. The SPY, it's like the 570 level on the SPY, or maybe a little bit lower than that, that needs to get held above, I would suppose. Now, obviously, you've got like a nice little double bottom pattern. Now you're starting to break back out a little bit here. The story hasn't changed on the long term, and we say this every single day, not getting through 575, just not getting it. Not getting through there. Every single time we have tested in the last week, it has been a rejection of that 575 top. Today, you didn't really even have a chance. And what's crazy about this is you're not getting any trading up there. Gap above, immediate fail. Get to the top and then immediately fail on a wick. Get there at the close on all those buy imbalances. Close there, trade pre-market, immediately fall. In the open market, we're not even holding anywhere near those levels on the SPY. So I do feel like it's resistance till it's not. I suppose it could fill in a bit of this gap, but you get up to that top, I think it's a bit of a sell zone. Outside of the obvious in terms of why the market is down today, it kind of already might be forgotten. But I mean, there was the bad note on Apple this morning about essentially cutting production on the iPhone 16. And because of demand concerns, that was already dragging the stock to the downside. Obviously, none of the geopolitical stuff has helped it. If this breaks, if this can get back above 226, I think it changes the dynamic of this move, because you still have the haves and have-nots on this rebound. Apple can turn this around, because Apple breaking 226, NVIDIA in here, I guess it's last, but NVIDIA is getting to VWAP right now. Like NVIDIA breaking 118 in VWAP, that's going to drag us a lot higher. But I'm still looking for the short-off names underneath. Not Apple per se, because Apple, I guess I could be in it, but I'm picking on Intel. It's just weaker. But Apple at VWAP, if that goes, if NVIDIA goes, 20,000 is already gone. I think we could see a bit of a gap fill on the overall market.
Okay.
Sorry.
Bless you.
I was fighting it.
That's all good. I think you did a great job there to do that. But the thing is, yeah, it's normally you gotta.
I couldn't get to the mute. I was
gonna say they hear it all. All right. What are we talking about? SPY. Okay, so we're short the TQQs right now. Neil just went over the SPY. This is going to be my best stock today. We've sort of gone over that a little bit here, and we're back into the short. So again, we were long here early, and we wanted to protect. I thought this was around 20,200, but we got dropped out, man. That we initially put down here 71, which was a good area. That's that 20,200 that we wanted to protect. Into yesterday, we had a little bit of a dip down situation, but then we sort of zoomed out, and I thought that we could. Yeah, it must be on a 20-minute chart. Anyways, long story short, we were long for not very long, and then finally, I looked myself in the mirror and was like, self, why are we not short? You heard me talk about that. It's like this market is a short. So instead of battling all these different stocks, we just flipped over into the futures and we punched the short there, and we wound up taking, this was over 100 handles down there. We shorted it again, and now we're back into the short. So we're above VWAP. We never got stopped out of anything yet. I guess we might have got, I took that piece out, and then we took that, remember? And then right now we're just building into a new position, trying to get into this area here of 70-20. Look, Nike earnings coming. There's not a whole bunch coming through. We'll go over the earnings in a minute. I I think the news is too negative, but again, we could start to rip up. There's buyers here. There's so much money on the sidelines right now. Like, I'm surprised. Like, the market was down 1.8%, and now we're about to turn, I don't want to say green, but I mean, the minute you're down less than 1%, you're like a sniff away from getting back up. Look at this mark. Okay, we just got stopped out. I thought it was stopped out above 20. Okay, we just got stopped out right there. So we'll have to slap a fail on, it's still going to be my number one stock, but we're going to slap a fail on this one with the TQQs as we just got stopped out. I think I got stopped out too early there. I gotta put some more shares there. I don't know. Thought my stop out was a little bit higher than that. All right, so we're going to wait for 70. I thought it was up into here. It was pretty close anyways. 70-20s was where we should have been stopped at. I think we're stopped out at 15s, but all right, doesn't matter. We're back in right now. I still like this short, but again, we're not trying to be foolish with this. We're very, very aware that money comes into this market at any time, and so we are going to get ready to get blown out of this if it does break upside. Yeah, we said 20,050. It's not even there yet, so we'll give this here 20,060 or so. Looks like the right area. So we're close. We're close right now. As this market continues to go upside, we're not going to be stubborn and fight this. So go ahead.
Before we go back, only because you mentioned Nike earnings after the market, it just so happens to be breaking the high of the day right now. Just a complete coincidence. It was like right in the moment. I was like, oh, what's Nike doing today?
Liking that
I
stock
pulled it up, and the second John was saying the word Nike was, let me go to a 3-minute chart. Nike was, testing. It hasn't technically broken. It's about 2 cents away from taking out the high. Usually, I think it's usually more muted going into an earnings print. Worth keeping an eye on. Obviously, they're reporting today, but some strength in Nike. I don't know what to make of that early on, but let's go over, talk a little about SMCI.
Wow, market, though.
Day post-split today for SMCI, and it didn't really make a whole lot of difference. Down with most of the microchip semiconductor names, about 2%. No new catalyst for this one today, but it is still reeling off that Hindenburg report that alleged accounting irregularities, later picked up, obviously, by the Justice Department, initiating an investigation there, but off the lows, guys.
Yeah, it's off the lows, but it's on... Like, the market just broke, like we already talked about 20,000. Apple's at VWAP. Intel, which I'm in, is at VWAP. NVIDIA is at VWAP. This is underneath. But when is the back end of the trade not the back end of the trade?
When the front end.
Well, that's true. But it's even when it sets up, sometimes you can be patient. Like, we didn't get the 42.5 short on SMCI. Oh. That just corresponds with the $425 level, obviously, with the reverse split. So it did the wick right at the open, failed at 425, came back, we're like, let's wait for it to start to roll over. It failed at 42 for a lower high, so that's the short that I took. It ended up bouncing off 41.50, and then when the market was bleeding, it then stopped me out, and it turned out that it was fine. You just had to wait for it until after like 10:30 when it just lost its strength. Like, it was relatively strong for a hot minute, and when I look back at this, I probably should have been able to sniff it out and done some kind of okay, let's look at this trend or look at the trend on the higher lows. Like, I could have done it either way like this and just say either that trend line or that trend line. Both of those coincide with it losing VWAP. Regardless of where you drew a trend line on the morning on a 3-minute, when this lost VWAP, all of a sudden VWAP was resistance, and the rest is history on SMCI. Yeah. Now, because it's not split adjusted, you have to go back to historical prices and just take away a zero. If you do that on the daily, in here, there's obviously a big support at $40, which was 400. So that's exactly where it double bottomed, right? So it's respecting some of those prior levels. Right now, I think VWAP is a turning point. I'm already in Intel off of VWAP, and I feel like that one's kind of like a short off of VWAP. But the market seems to want to go the other way at this point. But SMCI, day one, not a good day post-split. It didn't really help them out all that much. But, I mean, all the chip names fell, so it's not like they were alone.
What the piece that's really missing is research. And I think that we should have looked to see, what NVIDIA did post-split its first day, because I think it went down. I think we post-split we came out at like 120. And I thought I remember seeing it trading like 118, 117. I'm pretty sure the same thing was true for AVGO. Started to go a little bit downside there post-split. Walmart, I think, it hit it down and split over in and around that 180 mark. We were looking for that break. Remember, it split to $60. Then I think it went down to 57 or 58. So I really feel like in order to properly talk about it, we probably should have looked to see like what other stocks had done post-split, because it might not be stock specific at all. This might just be part of the action. Now today, different story. I mean, I could easily say that if the market was up, for example, and SMCI was down, but still down almost double what the market's down. So yeah, a little bit of figuring it out early. The difference about this stock is, which is kind of funny, is you saw NVIDIA down, like Intel down, like a lot of these stocks just started huge downside moves. SMCI, basically, the move stops at like 940. You know, like look at what NVIDIA was doing at 940. Like, well, I guess, anyway, the idea, as you can see, I don't know the exact timing, but at 940, this name was already down $2 and looking to even push lower. That's basically when we were getting stopped out. So a little different story there, SMCI versus the rest of them. How low did Intel get, by the way? Because I know that's probably being brought up as well right now.
22.
We'll get to Palantir in a second. Okay, so actually, Intel's bottom was just an hour ago. So that was a good little bid there too, 22.30. So yeah, I think we're looking at the right names. Just got to catch them at the right time. Intel with a nice little bid all the way back to VWAP. Oh no, is looking to me like another short. All right, we are into the TQs. We've been getting out of some of this. We're short at 12s. We just took a whole bunch of bids here, like 7s. Like it wasn't even that great. Down we got something near 70.02s, I believe. But right now we're still trying to figure this all out. Let's see if the market wants to get down a little lower. $70.25 if you're trailing on the TQQs. That's like where I'm thinking about getting out up there, 70 quarters. So let's hope that that doesn't hit. But all right, my favorite stock, I have the hat right here. We'll put it on. We'll go talk about Palantir.
Awfully strong lately, Sean. This article says 117% year to date, not including today's pullback. Obviously, nice double bottom off the low, looking to pull back into the volume weighted average price. We know that one of the founders, Peter Thiel, sold about $600 million worth of shares. That was about last week, not this week, but it is a headline. There's no specific catalyst on this one today, boys.
So much. Yeah, see, like insiders selling. Who cares? Insider buying, that gets me jazzed up. Now, when it's like the Bezos level of what's the word I'm looking? Well, I mean that like the Bezos 200 level where he's just like the amount is just spectacular. I think that matters a little bit more when you can see it just hold. But wake me up when he starts buying again, and that's something we'll trade off of. So if you play baseball, you go 2 for 4, you're going to be good. If you go 2 for 4 in trading, a lot of times you're going to end up flat. But you know, Palantir, I think the only mistake was I waited for 36.50 on the bounce, so that was I think the right idea. Lost it the second time. It was the early on trend line because I actually left a bid in there when it. I mean, as a trend, when you're using trend lines, obviously it's a moving target. It's not support and resistance. Something we talked about with Michael Noss last night and why we like support and resistance better. But if you're using a trend line, you always have to make sure you're adjusting your orders on the fly. Like when you like a long in here after that bounce, well, you've got to cancel that order and move the stop higher. And what I didn't do in that situation, I'd already taken out in the last bounce, had the prior stop and the prior long when it was in the uptrend. Thankfully, the stop was in there to limit the hit, but that trade just probably shouldn't be there at all, and then I'd be 2 for 3 and up on it. But Palantir, I still think is in the bucket of strong stocks. I know it's down 1%. It's over VWAP. It's back over the 36.5 zone. If you look at what's going on with this thing, like you can see a few wicks underneath it, but $36.5 has managed to hold its support in this little sideways move. So it's making a wedge up here, possibly primed for another breakout. I know it can go either direction here, but the fact that it's above VWAP, at least for the afternoon, I'm liking it. There hasn't been red on the 15-minute. And again, you're breaking above the resistance from earlier. So not one that I want to be fighting. Palantir looking relatively strong. As already mentioned, Intel is at VWAP. So I'm short this one. And then Rivian. I guess Tesla, I should have talked about Rivian when we were talking about Tesla. That would have been at least related to it. You know, Rivian, I shorted it back off the lower high at 1070. It is just chilling out near the bottom. It's not really participating in this rally, down 5%. So some things did not get the memo that you're supposed to bounce off the bottom here.
Rivian and going up is kind of a funny story. We'll see if that can happen in the next little while. I mean, I hope it does. Rivian just needs that catalyst, I think. Once it gets that, you know, maybe more investment or the delivery numbers. I mean, I think that'll be huge. Rivian has no problem with orders, right? It's delivery. It's they just need to produce them. We got another fill there on the TQs. I mean, it just went down into 70. We took another bid. Like, I'm literally getting out of 5% at a time here. I'm trying to hold on for a much lower move. Like, I think we can get VWAP. I don't know why we can't drop down like 70 cents right now on this name. But I mean, I'm still sitting here at 90 flat, 80 flat, try to take something out. Just trying to get risk to reward properly. Our stop out is 12 cents. We just took 12, like we've taken these O's a couple times. So the risk to reward is fine, but it's only 1-to-1 right now. I'd like to get a little bit more on that. Okay, so Palantir. Look, I love founder-led businesses, right? I mean, like what Neil said, it doesn't bother me that Peter Thiel's selling some shares now. I mean, this thing went public 4 or 5 years ago at $9.20. It was a direct list. This company has been around for 25 plus years. They just now, over the last 6 quarters, turned profitable. And yeah, so it does. I don't blame anybody that has been in this business for 20-something years holding insider shares and trying to finally sell it. Alice Karp, there's not too many businesses that are still founder-led, right? We have Elon Musk with Tesla. Other than that, I mean, Jamie Dimon's been there forever with JP Morgan, but it wasn't his business that he started. And so this is something here, Palantir, until I hear that Alice Karp is really in there doing something, I'm not too worried about any of that selling. I think you need to raise capital at some point and get all those yachts and get all those huge Bel Air mansions and things like that. But, you know, that's going to happen. I'm really happy looking at the daily chart here for Palantir. I think it has some good opportunities to give us some nice profitable trades moving forward, including a breakout through $38. I wait for that $38.50 break. I think it could happen tomorrow. I think it'll be a great trade, and I want to be here for it. So Palantir, always on my mind, and I like the trade. So, but for today, yeah, I mean, look at this move. It keeps on going higher. It's broke above VWAP, broke above the 200 period moving average. I think it's a buy right here. 36.60. Can we get a dip down? This might be the one to buy on any dip. We're sitting here fighting the futures when obviously the move wants to go higher. Looks like we'll get stopped out, sort of like I just said, that little 1-to-1 action right there. I don't think that's a beer because whenever we hear those little cracks, unless it's Obi over there cracking one.
No, it was a Coke, but like that's a distinct sound, man. Like I heard it, I just like, what?
Even Adam turned around.
I'm like, it's 2:30.
What's going on this floor here? Yeah, it's not the shawarma Corona party. Yeah, right now. All right, Ozan, you want to blow a cow? Let's go. Here it is right there. Coming through right there. Bang. For anybody that has winning trades, not I, as we sit here waiting. Well, we're flat on these futures. It's the only trade that we have right now. So there you go, Ozan. And, you know, cheers to anyone opening up a Diet Coke or whatever.
Cheers. Oh, also, apparently, Jensen is still founder-led business for NVIDIA, but there's not many left. There's not many left. I was trying to think. The chat reminded us there, but yeah, there really aren't many left out there.
That's the point. Like, look what's happening with NVIDIA, right?
But even he sold.
Oh yeah, you got to sell something. I mean, those.
You got to sell.
I mean, those blue jackets or whatever don't, or those black.
But he's the black.
The black. No, I was thinking that because Sharif's favorite color is that blue. But it's Lisa Sue, I think, was wearing the blue. So.
You see that? You should have seen his face light up just now. Let's go talk some NVIDIA because hey, founder-led business that's trying to break VWAP. No, it's not.
The GB200, that is the dual Blackwell chip that they're going to be shipping, is delayed. According to Ming-Chi Kuo, that came in during the How to Trade midday show, they're going to delay developments of those chips. We didn't really get much of a market reaction when this news broke. It continued on its merry way. Obviously, separately, shares of the companies and the broader market in general are down because of the belligerencies in the Middle East. But yeah, most of, or not if all, the semiconductor microchip names on my watch list were red last time I looked, guys.
I mean, if you guys can find a chip name that's green, let me know about it. I think that would be it would be a good tidbit because I think you'd want to look for some longs in that name. NVIDIA's down 3 points today, under pressure again. Look, like at no point today outside of this bottom, there's a couple little wick bottoms here, was it all that strong? As a matter of fact, it's trying to fail underneath VWAP, which was the support at 118. Let me just go daily so you can see this right here. The thing that it bounced off of is the 50 period on the daily. So that's about it. Like the good news is it bounced off the 50 period on the daily, but this little micro move that we have downside essentially went from point A, which was resistance at 25, all the way down to the 50 period in a relatively clean shot. So right now in the afternoon, it's a VWAP retrace on NVIDIA, and you can see the sellers underneath the 118 are starting to find some equilibrium because it was a hard charge to get here. There just has not been any follow through. In the time that, okay, this is a 3-minute chart, so this isn't going to be perfect here, but in the time that we've been making this last move above 20,000, you've gone sideways. Like this last bar, which is still strong on the Nasdaq, has been a sideways consolidation on NVIDIA. So I think that's still relatively weak. And you can throw just one more in here because chip names, AMD, same bucket. AMD's at VWAP, Intel's at VWAP, NVIDIA's at VWAP, SMCI, we were just talking about that, was very close to VWAP, slightly under it. SMCI is actually the weakest of this bunch, although they're not really all exactly the same. Let's be real. But yeah, big VWAP retracement right now. I feel like this is a line in the sand here for all of the chips. They're all here at exactly the same point.
All right, so again, we basically just go 1-to-1 there. We'll be flat. And I mean, I'll stop and fail. Anytime a trade is basically flat, you wind up paying fees and it doesn't work. So we get stopped out there at 25. We talked about taking some out there at O's. That was the best we could get. Didn't want to go down. I mean, I'll just put my hands up and say futures, you know what? Like, you do what you're going to do for right now. I just don't believe this move, but it's already happening. So believe it if or not. Stocks are stocks and prices do not lie. So we'll have to watch out for that one. Just quickly, yeah, we were in and out of NVIDIA. You said a chip stock that's green. I don't have anything. The thing closest to it, I mean, Meta is up 1.28%, trying to break through 580 right now. So strength in Meta, but no chip names right now. And if you were looking to do that, maybe a SOXL or an SMH, but yeah, individual names right now. Pretty red. Oh yeah, and then beer, something, Hans Beer, whatever. You had me there, man. He said BYD is up over 20% today. I was like, huh? So I just called it up. It's 4 or 5%, depending on what ADR you're looking at. No, just BYD. Just it's,
I thought you said
BYD. He did in the chat, but it was not correct.
So two things. One, Intel just stopped out because obviously everything just broke higher. But TSM is pennies away from green on the day. So
there we go.
I mean, technically that's not green yet, but this is distinctly different from the rest of them. Here's TSM. I mean, we're done now. We talked about NVIDIA. We're just sort of finishing up on some of the other names. But as I was pointing out, here is, okay, you know what? Can we come to my chart for a second? So I did stop out, but this isn't a very convincing break over VWAP, but I didn't like the fact that I was even averaging in the first place. I don't like that. Let's see it on the other side of the trade. This is not a convincing break of VWAP on Intel just yet. And NVIDIA is not even through, but as I was pointing out, like there's that, and there's NVIDIA, which I was showing, and then there's TSM. TSM, which was past VWAP an hour ago and continuing to go higher as it just ticked green. Like it feels like this is going to be the strong one. I did want to acknowledge a super chat here. Did you already get the super chat? Before we go to Adara, thank you, David, again for the super chats. We appreciate you. It's 11:30 and you cracked one just now. Founder-led biz is why private equity exists. Dabbling in oil. Lord save you. There's nothing wrong with dabbling in oil today. Why would you not be dabbling in oil? This is the day to do it. There's been some great runners in the energy space. Let's go to Adara.
We're going to take a look here at some of the things that happened during the midday period in case anyone's just sitting back down. It was quite the exciting and very tumultuous session here, both in the markets and just in the world in general. We had a lot of geopolitical updates with regards to Iran and Israel. Markets forming, though, a bit of a double bottom with a slightly higher low here for the S&P 500. Now pushing here into VWAP above that 570 area. Let's see if we can make 571 here on the SPY. Nice recovery here for some of these stocks. And of course, certain sectors definitely stronger than others, those who benefit from this war and these political tensions. So things like defensive names and also some things there in the oil space. In terms of other themes in the market right now to be aware of, we are just a few hours away, just under 7 hours away now here from the vice presidential debate. This is the only VP debate here of the 2024 U.S. presidential election. So DJT could be on watch with regards to that happening here tonight. Other stocks in watch here, we have DUO. This is that FANG DD. This stock has been in watch over the last few days, currently halted here, and with a pretty significant move to the downside. The company just announced a $2.5 million registered direct offering of 1.61 million shares, priced here at $155 per share. Stock currently trading here around $310 as of the halt, guys.
The old intraday offering is a cold-blooded one when they do that one.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And again, this is why you trade these things with stops. And the other side of it too is if you are ever, and again, look, I don't invest in these things. We'll day trade them, but if you're ever taking like longer term swing trades in these, you can look up whether or not they've already filed for a shelf and if they can drop an offering whenever the heck they want when these things move up, or if they're going to have to file and therefore the move can last some time while they do their paperwork to be able to drop it on you. Like you'll get a multi-day move and then they'll drop the offering. But like imagine a situation where you knew these guys were in they could file, they could do an offering anytime they want because they've already filed. Then you have a different outlook on a move like this because you're always in the back of your mind thinking that it can do a bit of a dump. Speaking of dumps, and this is probably overstating things a little bit, oil pulled back into VWAP. I think that's why in the super chat you were saying David was like dabble in oil. I think because there was a pullback, but Indo lost VWAP in a big way just now, and part of that, and I don't have the contract memorized, I'm just going to click on it in my quote board. Oil right at VWAP. So as the market's trying to break higher, you have oil trying to break underneath support. So you're at that 70 level. Obviously, it's 230, right? So they're going to close and not have the same kind of volume, the contracts, but that doesn't mean it can't still move. If there is a bounce up here off of support, I would suspect we're looking at a leg down. So worth keeping an eye on. Oil futures. If it does bounce back higher, Indo could get back to life. If it breaks the bottom, Indo could fall from whence it came. So that's what I'm watching. But yeah, keep an eye on some oil futures here, or just whatever you like to use as a proxy, volatility. Everything's at a decision point. NVIDIA is still right at VWAP. Even Intel that I got out is right at VWAP, and oil itself is at VWAP. I think it just, I mean, I got out of it, but it's right at VWAP. I feel like I want to see it start trading away from it. Like so many things are at a decision point. Let them make the first move and then try to join the trend in either direction, I think is going to be the way to play it. As I said, like, there's NVIDIA trying to make its move. Let it decide. And then we'll try to be a joiner. The only thing I'm left in is Rivian because it's not, like, it's just making lower highs. It's not threatening VWAP, and it's also not moving. I don't feel any reason to be out of this trade or spooking. Robbie V, when did Duo last report earnings? I can look that up for you. I mean, I have trade ideas up. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I don't have a date here for for earnings. I mean, it's a China. I hate to be cynical about it, but Duo, Chinese name, and I don't have a date for their earnings. I'd have to go like Google it or something. Maybe ask. I could ask Gemini, but then Sharif will get mad at me.
I mean, you could ask Adara.
Or we can ask Adara as well.
That's what
she said.
There we go.
In the chat, so they last reported.
You got to use your resources better.
Well, I was thinking I could get trade ideas to do it. I wanted to make a dig at Sharif and Gemini there.
That's right.
But looks like it was the August 30th was their latest report. And I mean, what did it do in August 30th? That should be, no, that actually isn't this move. Wait a minute, it didn't even do anything? Yeah, not much of a move. That was this reversal here off the 200 period, but not a very volatile day. Was last time reported. Well, that's still Rivian. What am I looking at? Wrong stock. There we go. It was doing nothing on August 30th. So it doesn't really matter. Like, it's halted to the downside, and it's indicating an open down on Duo. That's the other thing.
Now the futures are going.
So it's halted down and falling. Remember, priced at $1.55, that offering. This was up at $3.50 when it happened, and it's still heading lower and lower. Yeah, there's not going to be an SSR bounce on this one that I'm interested in. Sometimes you'll get a bottom after an offering, but I'm not willing to get in early. So it looks like the first move is back down. So I'm going to try to get back into Intel after that VWAP fiasco. Not really a fiasco.
Yeah, I shorted Intel right here too. Now the futures start to go, whatever, man. I mean, we did get stopped out. We talked about that. Now it's starting to fall back in. That's all good. What's up, Randy? Hope your day is going splendidly.
What's wrong with splendid?
Not Splenda, you know.
You still got that XOM?
Isn't it tanking today or what?
Well, I mean...
no, I mean, I think oil was doing really well. Today, 119.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't this 112 not too long ago? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we were just talking about this a couple of days ago down in there to 112. Now breaking a little bit higher. It doesn't even seem like it's up that much because it's only 2%. But yeah, on a chart, we're right back into here. Randy, if you got this, you might want to sell some of it. You're right back up to a level of resistance. We've seen a lot of charts that look like this, but XOM continues to lead the way. USO, an Amex name here. We'll watch out for that. This is United States Oil. So right now, oil today up 3%. I don't know, the chart's taking forever, but oil having a nice little bounce back day. It's funny how just one day you can get all this back right now. So oil, it's still a nice little low side. but having a day right there is oil today. XLE is what I am invested in on the Canadian XLE. On the Canadian side, it has not been a good run for some of these service providers, but here we go. Let's see what's XLE right now. These charts are a little slow. There it is, trying to break out higher as well. So nice little bottom there, 85. Trying to hold out stocks like Valero and things like that are on the production side and the refining side, 137. Valero's had a nice run on it recently. So come on, charts. No, it has not. Actually, Valero was doing really well on the year. My bad, completely opposite. Yeah, I was looking at it earlier on. I knew it had this huge run. But yeah, it came in. I mean, that's again XLE, right? There's a lot of names that have pulled right back in. Valero on the refining side.
The dividend
this
on
does
that?
Not look too bad. A pretty high dividend, if I imagine correctly. I used to be in this name, not anymore. But
they don't
I like
do percentage. It's
Valero.
$7, whatever that.
I can find out what the Valero.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't.
I gotta get Michael Noss to add or maybe I need to add the percentage instead of the actual raw dividend. I just don't like having to do the math off the top of my head really fast for you guys. But yeah, Valero, I didn't realize it was all the way down there. That's a nice consolidation off the daily. I was looking at the weekly chart as well. But Occidental, a few people are. It's RB Raj.
3.2%. 3.2%.
It's not that big. It's good. It's good. That's not that big.
Benzinga Pro platform.
Energy name. Yeah, I mean it's okay, but it's not that big. It's Oxy that's the strong one today. I feel like it's broken out. Remember that 55 level, that the vaunted $55 level, which had been support
say it that
since
way.
Well, I try to make it more dramatic than it really is.
Right.
Since 2022, this was a support level. It just lost it recently and bounced pretty much exactly off $50 on the daily, like double bottom 50. Now you're breaking out 53. Well, remember what we always talk about, support turning into resistance? Well, if 55 held for 2 years, do we think when it comes back up to 55, maybe, just maybe, there might be some sellers up at that price? So I think this move can get us to the 55, especially with a continuation. I mean, obviously all the geopolitical stuff is not going to, you're not celebrating it, but let's be real. If you were long anything in oil futures, like you're thinking about, okay, what's the next play? So this is giving you a bump, and now you got to start thinking about. I think that 55 and the 50-period moving average is a good spot there for Oxy. Wasim just in the chat, you're saying Neo is about to break higher. Well, it did get above.
Many things. It's like, do you believe in the short or not? That's what it's all about, right?
I was in Neo off of VWAP, and what's interesting is. I held on to the last little bit, like, okay, like I'm in and off VWAP. I'm going to hold some for the 7 break. I'm like, it's breaking 7 or it's breaking VWAP because I think it'll go if it breaks 7. And now it broke 7, went all of 5 cents after breaking $7. So really, the upside on the 7 break wasn't much of anything at all. All you're getting is a consolidation above 7. It's got a nice little trend for the afternoon. I wonder if this lines up because... All right, so you got the trend from the bottom, then you've got the trend from the afternoon, like that. Yeah, I mean, usually I like it. I like the later trend, like the morning one on the dump. I don't really care too much about it. Yeah, Neo's looking pretty solid, but it's 245 and it's a Chinese ADR. Well, how much juice does it have left in it is the real question. If it takes out the top, I don't mind joining it. What's Alibaba doing? Maybe that's even better.
Probably taking out more tops.
Whoops. Blue Ocean.
Pull back. We should have had that pound here.
Yeah, okay, come on, load Alibaba. Yeah, Alibaba's pulling back off the highs as well. So it's about the same thing. The difference is Baba's just been strong all day, whereas Neo's only getting strong now. But really, Baba's just retraced yesterday's move. You still have some resistance here at 112. I kind of feel like I might take a stab at this Neo if it can hold 7.
Oh, man. Okay, so... I was just saying, like, there's so many names that, like, I think Tesla's at a short spot here, too. Like, we have 259. We've bounced off of it a bunch of times right there. Like, if the market falls down, you're going to have a huge winner here. It's just, I don't like fighting the trend. And we've already did that once with the futures, only to get stopped out, only to look back, and it would be a nice winner now. But that's what happens. When you fight the trend, you do get stopped out unless you can pick the ultimate top. And for right now, like... I'm really surprised at this move back, to be honest with you. I mean, I thought this short rate here into VWAP, which we did have, would have held and did not hold. So that was like sort of that last straw for me. I mean, you could see what we sort of were doing here with the TQQs right here, and then it broke. So now we're out of it. But I still I still think downside, man. I mean, this is why we're short right now at 73, 72.5. So we're short into Intel right now. If this breaks 80, we have to get out. Like, but I don't. Again, it's like I don't think that it really wants to do it. But if it does, the market is a live breathing mechanism here, and we'll just wait to see what it wants to do. But I'm short Intel right now against 81, so it's not a super crazy trade, but let's see if that can hit. And then I'm really debating that TSLA. I am almost like, there was a point where I came back in and, you know, you get kind of like you throw up in your mouth a little bit there. Like that getting stopped out right there on Google really was crazy, because then after that, that's 164.60, right? You know, like where we are right now, that would have been the whole day back. And we were out walking around. We were out there with Adam and everything like that. We were talking about that. But at the same time, oh no, sorry, this is when I did my first walk. This is when I was with the wife. But, you know, came back, was disappointed that. Then we shorted it, which was really great, made some money back there. But at the end of the day, missing that back to the long. We know we liked Google. It was a name that was here on the sticky note. We knew we liked it long. So the other names that we had on here, Apple short. So actually, you know what? Let's just stick with what we're doing, man. And let's just trade the names that there we go. Look, see, like Apple short. Yeah. It's like one of the only names right now that's going to be under VWAP. I mean, the futures are well above, not well above, but holding 20,000 nicely now. Will we dip down? Maybe. This is probably the short that I'm looking for right now, Apple.
NVIDIA's underneath.
NVIDIA's underneath too. Okay, so we're already into Intel. NVIDIA is a good one. Anything down probably that 3% is probably still underneath, to be honest with you. But right now, 225 and change. I mean, it's why we're looking at Intel, right? Intel's at VWAP. So again, a name that's down 3%. This is why I like this short. Let's see if Intel can print a little lower. But yeah, I think Apple might be the one. If you're going to look for some shorts. But
what's interesting is Apple was the one with the negative story that didn't even, before all this even started. Like if you didn't have the geopolitical stuff going on, you still had the demand concerns for Apple. Maybe that's going to be it. I saw a very so in the chat said,
well, that's why we like the short.
We're talking about PDD. Like, so look, pick Chinese ADR. They're all at the highest today. Like when I looked at Bob and I looked at Neo, it's not like we're going to see anything different with Pinduo Duo. They're all at the highs. It was a good point in the morning. Someone was sort of saying, hey, with the market going to the downside, is China somewhat insulated, the Chinese name somewhat insulated from all this? Can they be along? And my simple answer was, it doesn't necessarily matter. The price action is telling you yes. So I mean, there you go. Like these have been immune pretty much most of the day to the downward move. So I think if you have a big news event like that seems to drag everything down, whether or not you feel like they should be, if something is going in the other direction, just pay heed to it. But yeah, I got out of, like Neo was a shakeout to me that I feel like I should have been able to get back into. I think it's fine to get out there, but look at that opportunity to get back in at VWAP. You don't need to be in it when it breaks VWAP, but look at that 10-minute, you know, like 6, 7, 8, 10-minute, whatever it is, consolidation for you to get 680s. You could risk 5 cents. And now it's at that $7 level. And for the Chinese ADRs, you want to be in it by the time it gets to 3 o'clock and holding your winner and getting out, as opposed to looking for entries, which is kind of what I'm trying to do. So, I mean, Intel's still, and Sean just went over it.
I'm back bidding some 70s.
Like it's right in here. I'm bidding high 60s in here if it breaks 70, because this isn't going down. Like I'm looking over, I'm looking up on my black chart. I'm looking over at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is grinding lower off of VWAP as we speak. Intel's very slowly going. Let's see what Apple's doing here. I mean, Apple's not moving, but it's under VWAP as well. It needs to start breaking down to give some fills.
Looking at Apple, yeah. No,
but like it's not
the VWAP top.
But it's not falling here.
I know.
It's just still going sideways. Like there's no action on this hold of VWAP. Like everything is at those key price levels. We talked about oil being at VWAP as well. There's just no move off of it yet. So let's see what happens next. Pretty Panda, Duo. That Duo got back to VWAP.
It's halted.
No, it's not. It's halted up now. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So halted down twice, now halted to the upside and indicating a 287 open. So it looks like it found a bottom at the low of the day. So Duo with the offering, now bouncing a little bit. This might be a fade if it gets into VWAP, I guess, but that's, I usually care more about halt prices than I do about VWAP when a stock does this, and you got a halt level at about $3 to contend with, which is oddly enough where it's indicating an open, like 297 currently as we speak on Duo. But it does feel like we're trying to roll over. The question is, will we? So I'm not looking for any long entries at this point as we break back out the top.
All right. I mean, just hearing it, I already told you guys. I mean, you guys already knew this. Like, no, I was going to say the Iron Shield that Israel has was just going to blow up all of those missiles. And apparently in our ear, that's exactly what happened. I don't think they just said that it's been defeated, nothing landed or hit or anything like that. So there you go, man. Like all these weapons that just keep on getting sent over, just keep on getting blown out of the sky, costing people millions and billions of more dollars to defend this situation. So, all right, so there's that news. Maybe it's a good sign for the futures. I don't know what to expect right now, but I would, and oh, shout out to Benjamin there. Great job. Benjamin's smart there. Says he's killing the futures today, 400 points. Great job. We had that 100-point winner on the Nasdaq futures as well. 80 more to the downside, 100 more to the upside. Yeah, look, I don't, you know, this is what the futures look like right now. So we took some, and then got stopped out. So all of this was about flat for us. I mean, there's not much happening. I wish we could get into some more futures trades right now. What I was thinking was this break. What time is it? Oh, it's already 2:50. Okay. Just this break right here of 68.93. So again, let's see. You know, maybe there is, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, you know, and I think that sometimes we get that sense right now that we're just hearing that, okay, you know, that was an onslaught there, unfortunately, and not talking because there's lives at risk and everything like that. So don't take this as like a news report, but I'm just trying to think of it from the futures side of things. Everything has calmed down now. You know, the futures are still down 1%. To start the day, we were up. Like there was really no negativity in the market other than the Apple sort of production worries. After that, well, it's not the production. It was that they.
It was demand.
Demand. It was basically they cut some units there on some of the supplies.
Yeah, but you're right. Everything else, we were like Google was looking like it was going to be strong today.
Right. So if people sort of discount
we like
whatever's
Tesla.
been happening in the Middle East, which I don't think we should do, but maybe the market does just continue to sort of grind higher, and then we wait for that next shoe to drop. You know, so I think that could be the next story. So I'm thinking about just laying low now. But let's just talk about it. If we do get a report about something else has happened or something like that, I think this break lower, 69.90, just this little wick here, then we would be under the 200, under the 50, sorry, heading into VWAP. That gives us a good ratio. And then we can use some of these as our top. So like 30 or 40 cents worth of risk on a break right there, I think might be the next trade. So that could be what I put on here. But we need the confirmation. Neil already said that. I think that's important. I don't know if we got the confirmation or not on Intel, but we have a good price. We're short at 73. We just took a couple outs at 70. I'm bidding lower, man. I'm bidding 67s for another 5%. Maybe we can get out there. But if these futures crack, Intel's going to be a great win, man, and we'll get back to where we need to be on the day. So hopefully this will hit down there. 2250s or so is what we're looking at for Intel. And I might just put that trade on. Let's put it on a little small on the TQs. So breaking back below 69, what did I say, 90s? Let's put on a little trade just to see. Don't want to lose everything taking a risk, but if the market wants to drop, I think we got found a good spot right there. Let's not play at the top. Let's play on the way down. So 69.90 break.
There goes NVIDIA.
We'll try the short. There goes NVIDIA down.
Okay, so NVIDIA just lost a $0.50 and is starting to accelerate. How about Apple? Okay, so Apple's still not even moving? Yeah, that's a little bit weird. NVIDIA's already starting to go. We already talked about it. You just mentioned Intel. It's starting to creep, but if NVIDIA falls, I feel like everything else could. Let me zoom in so you guys can see a little. There we go. That's a little bit better on Apple. But you do have, I mean, it looks like a little bit of a rolling over is happening here. Oh, let me into this 50 level. This is starting to curl the other way. So I want to see, put in another lower high, and Apple short is going to make sense. I'm on 66 and have not gotten filled yet on Intel, but we are starting to come in. It was NVIDIA that went first, still sort of sideways on Apple, but it's trying to go now. 20,000's back on the bid of the Nasdaq. The names that are under VWAP make the most sense to short, so that's what we're going to stick with here. But I'm on the offer of Apple at 45, trying to get picked up on the way to the downside here. So let's get down. Thankfully, none of the strong stocks are holding this up. I meant to point out, we kept talking about the Mag 7. We kept up talking about Tesla. Amazon almost went green there. Missed it by about 15 cents. Missed it by that much. Amazon looking relatively strong. If this is a false break to the downside, Amazon going red to green, I think looks pretty juicy. It's also resistance at 186.5 on AMZN. So I think that one, if we do end up breaking higher, why did I just get in out flat? I know why, because I had to stop at VWAP.
See, we did the same trade, and it's going to stop us out.
I did that same thing. Okay, so anyways, if this is a false breakdown, I think Amazon taking out 186.5 looks pretty good. Just want to get those thoughts out there. I just went in and out flat for no good reason on Apple, so I'm back in. Actually, I got 46 instead of 45 this time.
Okay, in the let's overtrade book right now. Hi, it's me. All right, so we talked about that trade. It's a small position, but we still don't want to lose on anything. I actually zoomed this back out here on the TQQs, and I wanted to give this name right here. This is a 5-minute chart. I wanted to give this until basically that prior bar. Well, here it goes now, 70-20s. It looks like we're going to get. It's a small trade, but it still sucks because we're going to lose on it again. We did take that break lower. Look what happened. It broke, and then it ripped right now. So we don't. It's like a third of the position that we would normally have, but it looks like there it goes. I mean, we get stopped out. It looks like maybe eventually on this trade, and I don't know if we need to do this anymore. Our net is fine today. There's nothing wrong with where we are. It's just we're not. Don't want to make it worse, man. I don't want to have a bad feeling after all of this today. So let's just get stopped out here, a break above quarters, and we will get out. I mean, it's we'll give this one a little bit more room than I was going to give it a little bit more, but I'm not going to anymore. Break above this. We'll get out at 75% in case it's just one of those crazy rips. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're out of this trade. Looks like it'll be a 30-cent hit, and that really does suck. We're lucky enough to get out of more than a third of Intel when it came back in. And again, we're just trading with some kind of size, so it's okay for me. I look, that short was 75s. Our outs there, I think we got a 65. Let me double check. You must have got your 66s. Yes. So we get a 65 there on that. So that was well worth it. And there goes the futures right back up again into this area. So yeah. Okay. If we're going to go short right now, we're at the top. That's 70, 50. I think we can probably go right now against that level. I don't know. So we only got out at 75%. Let's reload a little bit of that and give ourselves just a little bit more room. So we'll give ourselves a little bit more room on less shares right now and just give us to that wick right there, 70, 50, and hope to be able to survive this one. So yeah, so far so good, but not great on this position. Let's wait to see if we can get something going now on the TQQs up to 70, 50. Less shares, a little more room so we don't get wicked out. But at the end of the day, a losing trade's a losing trade. So let's hope it doesn't get too far up there. We'll wait for it. Maybe it pushes back, and then we can make it back. But for now, not a great execution here on the futures by me.
Yeah, so a couple of things here. One, we're into Apple. It looks like it wants to break resistance. I haven't mentioned this on Rivian, but I have a stop at 70, which is at VWAP. I'm just sort of hanging on to it from earlier. I've not made a trade in this thing since 12:30 getting in, and then my last out was when it broke the low at about 1 o'clock. But I am going to get out of this thing if it breaks 70 in VWAP. We're into 3 trades, which are pretty much all at VWAP. They could all go at the exact same time.
Right.
Vanny in the chat, did I miss any chat about Nike earnings? I mean, we didn't really. The only thing I said about Nike was I just pointed out that going into earnings, it was at the high of the day. That was about it. We didn't really talk any context about it. You can pull up the chart. It's been doing fantastic on the daily chart. Like, I could draw another trend and just say higher highs, higher lows. That's a very clean channel that it's been in. At the high because it's one of the. I don't know why. To be honest, we've been talking about sort of just follow the trend, whether it makes sense or not. But yeah, it's really strong today. I can't really put a finger on why it's being bought up. It could just be that it made a bottom, like a double bottom, and it's like a technical thing on Nike. But no breakout of the top. I think it's sexier if it breaks $90 because the next leg up, like it's pretty clean. Like you got a top here at 90, and then you have a local high at like $98, call it 100. So I think I love it if it just goes 90, and then we go screaming on earnings. I don't know what the implied move, I'd have to check that one out. It'd be interesting if it ended up being 10% and then you were at $90 and it just goes right to $100. But I haven't looked at that. I guess we'll look at it at some point. We're about to enter power hour, and the market, it needs to make a decision. We've been talking about the same trades at VWAP without a move away. So this is Apple, it'll go 15 cents into the money, 15 cents out of the money, and nothing more. Intel, which will go 5 cents out of the money, went 5 cents in the money, and nothing more. And if you're looking at NVIDIA, I mean, NVIDIA, at least from VWAP, popped down 70 pennies and retested it. So like this might have been a better place to go to in an NVDA, but it looks like it even wants to break out the upside. The thing I'm looking for the long was supposed to be like if Amazon could get something going, breaking out the high, but I see it's not like a rounded bottom, it's like a rounded top on Amazon. Still trying to hold support and maybe take out some of these highs. I know I like this, the futures takes out the top, then I want to join the trend when this goes from, if this goes from red to green. It's just not happening yet, so we got to be patient with this. Everything's still just chilling out at VWAP. I see you have it up. Is it 10%?
Yeah, no, it's 7, so you're close, 7.2. But last move, of course, we had 20% right here. I can't hover over it, else there it is. The previous move, 20. Expected move right now is 7. McCormick Spices, they reported already today. Nothing, whoa, 27. UNFI, United Natural Foods, right now. Okay, United Natural Foods. Nice move up for them today, up 27%. Coming in tonight, we're looking for AMC, not the theater, but this means after market close. Calmine Foods coming. Lamb Weston. Now, I wish it was Lamb Research, but it's Lamb Weston Holdings.
Lamb.
That's the jam. And that is it, my friends. So very, very dry in as far as earnings are concerned. But Fabian's retirement fund is going to be waiting for that one as Nike. I told him, man, do not hold Nike. Well, hold if you're going to hold. Whoa, I just.
Oh, it was Bitcoin.
I got to open that back up again. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. If you have some if you got some Bitcoin, yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah. No. Okay, back.
Which one's the backup? Bitcoin's the backup, or
Bitcoin's the backup,
or Nike's?
Yeah, Bitcoin's a real deal, baby. Real deal. Holyfield. We'll go on there. Ramin is jealous. Ramin wants to own some Bitcoin as well.
You don't need to back up. You got NVIDIA, right?
You got to do that. Yeah.
Backup you need.
No, she's got Tesla. Tesla's been a nice move.
Why did I think it was NVIDIA?
To the upside.
Okay.
I don't know why. So we'll wait to see. Oh, it better not be Rivian. Me and you, Ramin.
No, no, it's not. She's messing with us. These guys are just throwing up symbols.
It could be Rivian.
It's not Rivian.
Well, these young guys. I mean, look, man, I lost way more money than I even smoked in weed. Like the amount of money lost in weed names has been epically tragic.
Remember when those dudes came up from Chicago? I don't know about that.
Right. Well, yeah, I wish back in the day it was a different story. But this is investing in marijuana names. They have been a hot fire. I just remember that because of Rivian. Like they've had a huge move up. Some of the car companies won't survive. We had Ride, we had Workhorse. We had our boy Fisker.
Yeah.
Polestar basically.
There was
dead. So anyways, I was just saying, you know what price Rivian IPO'd at? $107.
And what was crazy?
So
like that, and that was a good day. Like the IPO trade where you're just like back when it was just like free money, like Snowflake was stupidity at 300 and Rivian was stupidity. It went to $150.
Intel or something. Yeah. Right.
Like so those it's not like it was just they were IPOing with those prices and dying. No, like you were making money just taking the long at the open on those bad boys, even though they were all ridiculous prices. But there was something. Oh yeah, so Indo. I didn't check oil. I'm going to get to oil in a quick little second. That INDO. It's funny, like that made my mind go to Indo.
Endo or Indo?
You got the Indo or the outdo?
I mean, I ain't got any dough. I got some.
Bouncing off of VWAP, some of the energy names are catching, at least this one's catching a bit of a bid. Oil futures did get above VWAP, but they're not really going anywhere. Remember, at this past 3 o'clock, past 2:30, so obviously they're closed. But INDO is starting to move once again. Can it really take out the top if there isn't a move in oil? That doesn't make. I guess it could. What am I even talking about? I thought if oil bounced off VWAP in any kind of a decent way, it would go further. But this is it's just going on its own here. I don't know if I want to chase this. I'm not going to chase it. Might just be a top breaker or play the lower high. Like let it pull back, see if it can continue trend. VWAP is already gone. I'm not going to diddle in the middle with INDO. And then that duo stock for everybody that's paying attention to it. So it halted up, tried to get past 3, did not get past 3. So forget about VWAP. It's that halt price. Like there was a halt in the morning downside at 299, a halt up at 302, and then this last reopen after the halt was like at 305. So So obviously the $3 level is a big one. It failed at exactly $3 and headed right back underneath. This might be a short to 3, but I bet you we have to pay for locates. I have to price that out. Yeah, we have to pay for locates on Duo, which I didn't do this morning. I wasn't really thinking about it. Yeah, I might as well price it out there. But Apple...
It'll be less than 1 cent.
Oh, yeah, usually it's less than 1 cent. Apple looks like it's very slowly trying to break it out. We'll have to get out of that if it does. Intel, when I started talking, it was at 75. It's still at 75. It did go back down into 70 even, it looks like. But there's just not a heck of a lot happening at VWAP. We need a bigger push to the downside on all these. I'm going to price out that Duo because after the offering at $1.55, it does make some sense.
All right, we reloaded a little bit there on Intel. I mean, we came back up into 75, so we did take a little bit more there. So our average price now is 75. We had 73s before. We put on a little bit more there. We didn't put on as much as we had, but we almost put on almost the same amount as we go back into the downside. So I'm going to bid some 71s and see if we can get some out again, and just putting some money in our pocket here at the end of the day, hopefully with a downside move. And I don't want to play. We've already sort of talked about, okay, come on, man. I mean, homie the clown, don't play around unless, of course, we are trading the futures. And I mean, we got stopped out there, which kind of sucked. We only got stopped out at 75%. We put on a little bit more in order for this move to play out. This is what we're waiting for. We were waiting for a move down, and we didn't want to really scalp it. I am at 70 flat to get a piece out here. Hopefully that will happen for us, and we'll be able to get some. It just went down to 70.05. We are at 70.02s. Right there. So we'll see if it can come in. There it is. There's the bid. 04 looks like it might have stopped at there. So we'll wait to see if we get a little bit of a push down here. We like it a lot. I thought I was bidding. Oh, I'm bidding 71, sorry, on Intel. So hopefully we get a dip down in for that one. We'll just take a couple pennies. I mean, we were pretty lucky there. That move, there we go. We get to 71. That move right there went down to 65. So that was 10 cents from that top to bottom. So if we could do that again, I mean, I'll wait at 70s maybe. To get another piece out here. I'm just trying to, whatever, we'll go on gateways that either pay us, so it's not so bad. But anyways, maybe we can get a 70 and then hopefully back down, and I'm already bidding 68, so we'll see where that story winds up for us as well. And then the future's looking for a short. But I mean, look at the futures right now. You know, like if you want to draw like one of these cool ellipses here, and just to show you, like right now, this zone that we're in, you know, whoa. If we don't, come on, ellipse, stop. If we don't break out of this area, then, I mean, we're just going to be churning through shares, which is why we're doing less right now on the volume side and trying to wait for a break so that I don't get stopped out. So again, you have to have different tools in your toolbox, and I just feel like having some patience is something that should always be there, and especially for right now. If the futures aren't going to do anything, just break out, and then we can stop out and we don't have that many shares, or make that move down and then give us a much better fill. And if we're right and the market goes down, then we'll still have a decent piece on because we're not taking anything out until the extremes. So let's wait. I can't believe I'm saying like an extreme would be like 15 cents right here, but I think that would be a great fill if we can get that. And then the next fill, maybe like 90, where we initially went short on the break when we thought we were breaking. That would be the next plate. So I'm bidding O's or bidding O2s, and let's just put a bid right now at 90s, and I'm already there. I'm already at 69.93. So my trade is already there, just waiting for it to execute. Hopefully it happens soon for us, or else I'm going to lose my patience.
I just got a partial fill on Duo.
Oh, it opened.
Yeah, and then this happened. Anyway, let me do this.
Come on, futures, do something.
Like the second I get in at right in front of that 80 level, it just immediately into a halt in there. So this is going to be a hit. I'm going to take it out on the reopen if it's above this halt price. So this is the halt level at 310. I just want to make sure that I'm not going to put a limit order in there, realistically, because I can look at the tap price and see where it's going to open. If it's opening underneath, then I'm probably just going to not take the fill. I'll put a market order if it's going to open above the 3.7. Actually, check that. It's 310 level here on DUO. But we'll give it about 3 or 4 minutes. It should be a 5-minute halt. I'm anticipating it's a 5-minute halt. You already went over Intel. But yeah, we're going to have to see what happens with this one when it reopens. Like I had literally just put an order in to get short. I was about to put another one at $3. And the second I did, it was like, boom, went upside. You saw me get all over the bid because you can still try to get the bid to get out, but there were no fills to be had. I might have reversed. I had enough orders that I probably would have ended up reversed if it had filled, but it did not. So in 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes, I'm going to make sure I have the level 2 dedicated to it so I can get my order. Probably going to use a market on order if it's indicating an open where it is right now, which is above $3. If it does indicate lower, then I'll hold it through the open and just put a stop when it reopens above 306.
All right. Let's just keep on going here. All right, so that's what's happening on the Qs. I think we sort of talked about that. Let's look for some other love here somewhere else. Okay, let's look at Alibaba. Wow, oh my. Oh man, this stock has an easy way of making you just look silly every single day. I mean, we know the Chinese story is here. We're not trying to ignore it, but I'm just dumbfounded. Look at this move again. We saw this yesterday, bouncing off the 200, 200, 200, 200, keeps going. What am I trying to do? Shorting against 109? Like, we took some money early, then we got stopped out. I remember that. This was all within that first 20 minutes, and we were like, oh my God, the market is crashing. What is going up? Let's find something at a level. We wanted 109. We shorted it. We wanted it again right there. Nice, pulled it down. Make sure you like and subscribe. But don't like and subscribe for this trade. Like and subscribe for Neil's handsome face. I mean, this move right here, 112 breaking, 115. I mean, where is the next move here? I almost think we just need to go long. Although the futures are coming back in right now.
180.
Hopefully we get a fill there. I mean, maybe we just break this level, 112.50, and we go. All right, what just happened? Oh, it's Intel, baby. Intel making them sing right now. Let's go. I mean, we'll just take little pieces here. You guys are going to like, oh man, this guy's making 5-6 cents. What kind of a joke is this? Trust me, I ain't laughing. Let's see if we can get to the downside here and actually put some money in our pocket now for real. All right, here goes the TQQs. Let's go again. Slappy, slappy. As we're getting close to a good spot again. What's wrong with that? We're getting close to we're getting close to another level here for us. Let's see if we can make that move down. That's it. Whoa, Fabian, is everything right?
What is going on over there?
Yeah, right over there. You did a little aggressive slappy over there. But no, down here, $70.02. We told you we were bidding that next stop 90s, next stop after that 80s, and then let's go VWAP. And look at that out on Intel, man. Again, we got a couple decent outs down there. We got 71s and 69s. Let's see if we get a little bit lower now on Intel, breaking into this area, 66, 67. We'll take that if we can get it. It's Intel trying to make some moves right now.
Yeah, and the other thing trying to make a move is DJT might break out here. Look, I know there's some people that are pumping well, it's been happening every now and then in the chat, but it really is making higher lows into a flat top break here. It's about 1670 that would be pre-market low, and that level in there, that does make a little bit of sense. I feel like if it's going to go, it's going to have to do it soon. It's 312 debates tonight. I mean, I know it's a vice presidential debate, but it's weird because we were talking about it this morning, like that was going to be a big deal, and all of a sudden, it doesn't seem as big of a deal in terms of a catalyst, but yeah, higher lows into a potential flat top break. The volume is probably your concern here. Like it's starting to go in the volume, but the second it got to the high, it's already tapering off just a little bit. Right, Apple's at VWAP and trying to go. Interestingly enough, the thing that I was like, it's not going to do anything. It hasn't been moving. I mean, Rivian tagged VWAP and pulled back. That would have been nice, but instead we went over to Apple. That is the wrong one. I see NVIDIA, people are interested that, like NVIDIA is pretty good off VWAP. I actually feel it's a little bit better. This is starting to roll back over again. All right, I got it of 80% on the reopen, and now it wants to tank. I'll just take threes. Just give me threes, give me threes. I just took threes on Duo when it reopened. Sorry, I was on NVIDIA when it happened. So it did open at the halt price. I'm like, okay, let me just get out. That was the plan of action if it opened above. It opened pretty much right there. I took 80% out. Then it tried to lose 3. Immediately it rebid 3. I'm like, okay, let's just get out the last 20%. It might come down from there, but the plan of action was to take a lower high play, not when it makes that move up, to try and hold on to it for dear life. So back over to NVIDIA, which looks a little bit better in terms of shorting off of VWAP here. It's 118 that's been holding on a dime. It's at 70s now. If 18 even is what's been holding, I think playing back into this is going to make a little bit more sense for weakness. But again, it's just not a heck of a lot of price action on any of these names right now. Like, I hate to be rushing into things. I almost feel like DJT breaking out
we've got the secret over here.
would be a better opportunity because might have a better chance to give you a move. Like, it's already gone 2% in the last, call it 10 minutes or so. If it blows out the top, you can get a point or two.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we got something over here. It was just the futures. I mean, playing around on some of these equities is going to be a tough one. We just got a 96 fill there. So that's so far so good, man. I think we did the right thing. Now we're 25. We just got 25 cents on that play. I think we're doing the right thing by taking a little bit less shares and trying to wait for more dramatic of a move. So right now we are bidding. I mean, I'm bidding in the, let me put another bid here at 91, 92. I know that's not too dramatic, and then we'll stop. And then we'll go down into here, like 60s. I mean, we could, you know, if you're looking at for a longer time frame here, I mean, this looks to me like we want to turn around. That little level is 60, so that's the same level that we just looked at. That's 69.30 right here on the charts. So I feel like we are going to be pushing down a little bit. We said we'd give this one a little more room, so pretty happy with it. But again, you know, we could sit here and talk about it. Doesn't actually mean it's going to work out. So let's just wait to see now if it's going to be a play. So TQs, we'll bid again. We're bidding some 92s here. One little flush down. We should be able to get that. And then our bid will go into the 60s. And we'll wait. Here we go, 93s. Come on, 94s. One more move down. And again, this, if you are trading the TQs with me and you're wondering about size and things like that, you can use as much size as you want on this name. It is a very, very programmed market here, just like the futures. If it wants to hit you, it will hit you. It's not going to stop because of the amount of shares that are here. Thousands will go through, hundreds will go through. It will just chew it up. It's a very algo-based trade, those that trade this on the TQQs. So here we go, 94, 90. Oh, we just missed 92. See, this is what I'm saying. There it goes. So it just takes us out right there as if we weren't even sitting there. Nice move down. Let's go. All right, so here we go, man. Let's go, Ramin, and everybody else out there. As there we go. We talked about what we wanted. We wanted to be patient. We wanted... I'm just trying to include you, Ramin. That's all. That's all. We're trying to, exactly. Where's that note of mine? She sent me a love note earlier. I don't know where it went. All right. So she probably blew it. She probably burned it, actually. That would make sense. All right. So at the end of the day, we said we'd be more patient. We're doing that. This is a good trade for us. Now we'll be fine. There it goes. Look what we're talking about right now. We said wait for this kind of a move. We took it too early right there. I don't think we took it too early, but we probably used too many shares and we had to get stopped out. So we got stopped out at 75%. We put it back on. And now finally, just by waiting and being a little more patient, this is what we do. Shout out to Bora Hout and everybody there on the chat that's riding with me. We said patience would be key. We're trying it again. So there's TQs. We're making way more money on this than we are on Intel. But Intel's still fine. I'm not, you know, it's just we keep on gaking these bids. I'm waiting for this name to crack. Hopefully that does do that, and we will be fine moving forward. So right now it's Intel, it's the futures. Really for me right now, this is 42 cents in the money. And if you're going to talk about how many handles it is, we're short right here at 2060. It's down to 26. So it's about a 35 handle move right now, which ain't bad. We'll see if we can get a little bit more on that. We are out of about 25% only of our position. I'm going to take it another piece right now, though. That 30 handles is nice. We'll take it another 5% right now. So we're out of about 30. Actually, we took out a little more than that. We're at about 40% of our position right now. So we'll see if we can get a lower take here moving forward.
Yeah, and so it got pretty lucky there. Off of VWAP, when the market came back in, was able to get a fill in Rivian. It came within, I mean, technically 2 cents of trailing out there. Like, it got right into VWAP, no break. Thankfully, it's headed right back into the lows. I didn't re-up there because we got into Intel, which is still not moving. It's wild. I mean, Apple's still exactly at VWAP, but we're able to get this pulling back in. NVIDIA is still at the $0.50. It's trying to go. It's not really all that successful in heading to the downside just yet, but it feels like it wants to make that next leg. Like, why is it not doing something a little more extreme? And DJT, which felt, well, the world like it was about to break out the highs, well, didn't break out the highs. All of a sudden, this thing wants to follow the market. I don't know why it doesn't usually care. The market can pull back and it can do its own thing, but this is pulling back into VWAP. So no breakout on DJT. It's now 320. It's not like it's super late, but the later this goes, you don't want to be taking a breakout at like 355 or 350 or something like that. It's going to have to do some work in the next few minutes for it to make a bit of a bounce, take out this local high, and then maybe give you that run into $17 that we're kind of thinking was able to happen. But there goes DJT, no breakout, unfortunately, for that stock. Looked like it was trying to go, but trying is not enough when it comes to a squeeze name. To me, you've got to take out some of those highs, get the volume in, trap a few of the shorts, and then you can have a bit of a party. And DJT is a squeeze name. Last we had checked, I think it was like 20-something.
No, I think it is. I think it's less, is it? Let me check Benzinga.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe double check. Because the last time we checked, I was on with Obi maybe like a month ago. So it has been a hot minute since we looked at the short float on DJT. You'll have it. You let me know. It was pretty decent, but I don't know if it's still.
Yeah, they have a 12%, but double check yours because
I'd swear it was.
No, I thought there was a situation where we were the other way. There on Benzinga. What does the guy from Sharice's favorite show there, the kid one, Sheldon? What does he say?
Buzzinga.
Oh, Buzzinga. I was gonna say Benzinga there. All right, and then I told Sharif I thought he was watching it on cable, but he was watching it on Netflix. So spoiler alert. No, I won't do it in case anybody.
So FinViz does have a different number.
Yeah, I knew there was.
Yeah, FinViz has like 19%.
Right, exactly. I knew there was some kind.
And remember, these are all like short. They're all estimates, and sometimes some update at one time, some update at the like it doesn't. Some like every single month they update. Maybe they update every couple of months. But yeah, whether it's 12% or 19%, I still put it in the squeeze bucket. Like limited float. And then a decently high short float is the story because Trump owns 60 or 56% or close to 60% of it. And if he's not selling, there's a limited amount of shares available out there. And if a bunch of them are short, you guys get the idea. Either way, that still means for me, I swear I just typed DJT in there on NVIDIA again. It still needs to break out. Like if you were short this from the morning, like you might be thinking, okay, if it doesn't ever break out here, I can try to hold on to it. Feel like you should be taking profit. It's holding VWAP. But yeah, it needs to take out this 16.7 and then get going higher. It'd be a little more interesting if it could. Nothing on NVIDIA. There's a market bouncing off almost 20,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Intel seems like it wants to break out VWAP as well. I got to check on Amazon.
Is it doing anything?
No. Market bounces. Amazon, which is relatively strong. This is the other setup I was liking. To go red to green on Amazon, and maybe you could take out the top. It's not really setting anything up. Maybe a slight little trend reverse here, but like that's getting really nitpicky. Like if you just do something like this, close above, take the break into the high of the day. I mean, it's definitely a relatively strong stock. It's one that I want to be long in a general sense, but like break the channel. Like that's the frustrating thing about this. Okay, well, it hasn't broken the high. It hasn't broken the channel. What's the trade? I have to wait for it to do something here when it's only 320. Just no move here to be made on Amazon until it breaks out of that channel or takes out the top. I know I like it for relative strength, but just like the graphic says, you got to poke. Unfortunately, it can't poke. It can't poke here. You need to poke that right there. Well, if I do that, like it won't, trust me, it's not going to oblige me. Like now it's not going to let me.
You should draw some more lines. There we go. All right.
But if I do that, it's still going to stay here. Like the guy's going to poke down there. I can't make here go to there remain. Oh, you can zoom it in. I'm not
surprised. Ramin's going to make an appearance on the show probably. Okay. So, no, she's not. She's going to come over. You're shy. Yeah.
You're not shy.
She's shy over here.
Oh, whatever.
Okay, so just real quick here. Look, we're not trying to poke the bear ourselves, but the Qs did make a move back to the upside again. It is a good thing that we were able to get something out there. I may just make another move in the mid-90s and get this out, but here we go. It is falling back in, so this is all good so far. It did make a move. I'm going to put another bid at 95. We sort of talked about some of these moves here today, and they've been, where's Sharif? They've been bamboozling some of these moves. I don't even know really what that means. I think it just means up and back and forth, I think. But right now, that's what I'm feeling like right now, that these moves are going up and down. And I don't really, let's just capture the profit. There's only 20 minutes left until we get the imbalances. We're really, really comfortable with what we've been able to do here in the afternoon and make a little bit of cash on some of these plays. So let's just keep it going, keep the good feels there on that. Next up, Intel. Intel can, you know what? We've gone in and out of this. We will, I mean, I can see my net. This is the only trades that we've had all day on Intel. So we're up on it, so it's fine. But if it breaks 80s, then it'll pretty much be a flat trade again. So I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't happen here, but easily could. That is a break the other way for us now on Intel. Let's hopefully that doesn't happen, but could make a move down. We are short 75. We are not reloading this name. So in what's been a day of different reloads, not one again here for Intel. We've kept on doing it. If it wants to go higher, it wants to go higher. We've already drawn this here. And look, man, we make that move down. We took outs there. So now we're trying to break out of this little area and hopefully make that move down. We just bounced off 20,018. So let's hope for a nice little downside move again and be able to capture some more outs right here like we did. We almost got, that 200 pair would be pretty sweet right there. Here comes Intel. Okay, Intel. Here come the TQs. We're bidding 99s. Is there anything else you guys want us to look at? We have
apparently,
go ahead.
Either Fabian or Ramin, one of the two of them, I'm going to guess it's Ramin, says what stock, well, they put it in the chat there. By the way, if you want to enjoy the chat in our great community, and sometimes answer polls from either Fabian or Ramin, or maybe sometimes us, you have to be a subscriber to be in the chat. So it's a subs-only chat, so hit that subscribe button. Hit the like if you want to. I think you should. And then let Ramin know what song is stuck in your head. I don't have a song stuck in my head, so I feel like, what am I going to lie? I can't. I do not have a song stuck in my head, but I've seen a couple of people, routines in the night, a couple of answers in there, but if I get something stuck in my head, I'll let you know. I'm looking forward to Friday because, Ramin, I remembered the song that we were supposed to play. It was Chief Don't Run. I'll message you. That was what we're supposed to listen to. She asked me what was the song you wanted to play because she plays music for us before we come on the show on Friday mornings, and I forgot the name. It was Chief Don't Run by Jadena. So I'll make sure to message her. You trust me, you're going to like that beat.
I have no idea who Jadena is, but I'm sure it's Jadena Fine. Right there. So yeah, I'm sure
he's underrated, I think.
Oh, I thought it was a girl. Okay. All right. Shout out to male Jadena right now. It sounds like Zendaya there.
It does.
Yeah. So that's why. I'm not trying to hate. I have no idea. Okay. So the TQs still in the same. I'm literally just doing the same stuff right now, guys. So I don't really apologize for it because this is what I'm trading. But right now, this is what we're doing. We're trying to find some moves here. Looking at Nike as well, breaking higher as well. Up that 1%. Could be a mover here late. We know that. We'll see if there is some love here at the late part of the day here for Nike coming through. So I think that there could be some nice plays later on in the day. For right now, though, Nike trying to just balance itself out. We're above VWAP, above the 200. Just want to give an update on this. Nike earnings expected move. Neil sort of did the math there. It's over 7%. So a 7% move on $89. Maybe you'll get $6 move or so. If you have that, that will bring you back into some 83s, 84s. If the expected move is right. Just because that's the expected move, that has nothing to do with whether or not it actually moves that much, but that is what's expected. So we'll see if there's anything coming through for Nike later on today into their earnings. And of course, a $6 or $7 move higher gets us where we need to be into the mid 90s, where I think is a huge sell. This gap completely filled off last time earnings. Let's see if we can get something going again here for NKE into the close one more time. So that's going to be a Nike trade for us. Futures in an Intel. Intel, our stop zone is very soon. Breaking through 80s. We've already been up here. If we do break up, then we're going to get to the downside on that. But for right now, not doing too much. Tesla. Oh, that was the other trade that I liked. I liked Tesla right here. I thought Tesla could fade out. But if this market's going to go, again, everything is just like, this is going to sound ridiculous to keep saying this, but
nothing is moving that much.
Yeah, you have to get an opinion on which way you think the market's going to go. And for me right now, I don't really have an opinion. We're short on the futures. We have that play, so that's my opinion. But I'm not willing to put it all on Tesla right now. But if you think the market's going down, this 259 area right here is pretty sweet right now. Maybe this break. 257.75, bang, down here to 255, 256. The ratios are all here. You just got to believe in it. So right now, we're going to sit here and wait. But I think the futures have a nice downside push coming. We're already in the futures. We're bidding right here, 95s. Maybe we can get that. But for right now, it's going to sit on your hands. There's only 20 more minutes until those imbalances.
Well, speaking of which.
Quick look, not much. Yeah, go ahead.
No, just TD and Pfizer, if you're into CNQ, but TD sell 1.5, Pfizer buy 1.3. Oxy's a sell of an early look sell of $1 million on Occidental, although it's very strong for most of the day here. I feel like the energy moves have sort of tapered out a little bit. I think it's weird. Like what happened at 3 o'clock on the wow? Okay, well I guess futures, but Oxy dipped into VWAP. That's a real candle and that's a real volume wick, which terminated exactly at VWAP and then went right back to it on Occidental. Yeah, if you're just waiting for VWAP on the right stock, oil's in play today, Oxy's in play. At 3 o'clock, you were gifted VWAP, and now it's doing nothing on a slight upward move. That was your chance. That's why you try to strike when it gets there. Unfortunately, the thing that we're looking at VWAP is not moving away from it. It's holding VWAP, which is fine, but it's not moving away from VWAP. Oxy, I'm asking myself if I want to be in this thing. I don't know. I've kind of swung. I've had swing trades on this before, but no, not really at this price level. I'm thinking out loud to myself, 55 going to be resistance, 50 going to be the low, then 53 doesn't really set up for much of anything. If I think there's going to be a bit of a chop and churn at the $55 level. Obviously, it's strong for reasons of what's going on in the energy space, but it's making a technical break into a big level regardless of what's going on here, as we'll go to look to see what else is relatively strong here, maybe pick up a name or two to go into the close with the Darren Sector Watch.
We're going to take one last look here at some of the outsized performers to both the upside and also the downside here on the S&P 500. Of course, we know there's a lot of strength in energy, a lot of strength in defensive stocks, and some weakness in tech, but I wanted to take a look at some names we haven't discussed yet that are also running with catalysts. This one actually is to the upside. This is Schlumberger, SLB, and now instead is joining forces here with this ADNOC Drilling and Patterson to basically extend and accelerate the unconventional oil program in the UAE. So UAE story sending SLB here to the upside. We also have actually another upside mover here as well, INCY. This is Insight, getting an outperform rating here from Wolf Research and actually pushing into high of day as we get to the close. So great look for INCY. Last but not least here, this is the one downside mover on this list. It is CDW. That's both the name of the company and the ticker. Getting a downgrade and a $245 price target story here from Citigroup. So some different names that we might not have looked at, making some larger moves to the upside and downside. And what's been a pretty eventful day for the market in the world, guys?
Easily been right.
We're doing some
no question. Finally moving away from VWAP is Intel. But again, it needs to break into the 60s to get really good. And then from there, maybe the 22.5 level. I'm on the bid. I'm just going to take the low of the day on Rivian because that is 10.5. It already bounced off 10.5 once. So we'll hold on for the 60s in Intel. We're looking low of the day here on Rivian as it's right back to said downside. Dwayne just saying Neil's back at 7.
We're crushing this.
So the problem is it's a Chinese ADR. So like everything else, it's not really moving. But I would look at a close above 7 as a big deal on NIO. But finally, the market's starting to roll over here. So, hey, thankfully, we're just sort of sitting in them, waiting for them to come into the downside. And that's what we finally got here.
Yeah, finally. We'll go a little face slap action right here as we're putting some damage on the board again right now. So there goes Intel. And by the way, I mean, we took a 78 fill. Or hold on a second. Was it 77 or 78? It was on Intel 78. So we get that 78 fill up there. I just looked at myself in the mirror, not really, and I said, like, self, we have to be willing to take a 3-cent risk. Like, we were getting stopped out if it broke 80s. It was at 78 and doing nothing. Easy day. What's not been easy day, but can go into the gates of hell. See ya. It's really nice when things work. There it goes. Bye-bye, bye-bye, market. Bang! That's what we're talking about right there. Let's props it up, man. John Travolta's like, what? It is a nice move to the downside, Mr. Travolta. I don't know about Scientology if it predicted this, but we sure did sitting right here. There it is, a nice move to the downside right here for the TQQs and for Intel. We were just sitting in both of them. There it goes. We talked about taking out some more cash on this stock, using less shares, waiting for bigger move. Oh boy, did we ever do that. And here comes Intel as well. You know, really ringing the register on some of these plays. So far, so good here, guys. Let's not, you know, kid ourselves about what's been happening here. This is a nice move down for the TQs and for Intel. We just get another bid there. 62 on Intel. Oh boy, right there. We still got a decent sized position on right now for Intel. Intel, after all of this, will be my #1 stock. Isn't that crazy? Like, we do nothing pretty much all day. We don't even trade Intel until finally it lines up exactly with what we thought. And then this happens. We're still fine on the TQs, but Intel will reign supreme here, as we've had some hits on the TQs as well. So let's go, man. Nice trading here for INTC. Looks like it is going to rule the roost here. Nice downside play there for Intel and the TQs. Wow, this is a good one, man. We have over right now. If you're trading over here, we have 67. This is a 70 handle winner right now on the future. So let's just keep the good times rolling now and see if we can't get a little bit lower here on the NQs and on Intel.
Yeah, I'm out 2/3 of Intel at this point, and I'm all out of Rivian. 55 bounce is basically the same thing as that 50, and it just caught a bid after this little candle into the downside. We gave you the early looks. There wasn't much of anything, so to speak. So again, just going to hang on to the one VWAP trade that we did have. I'm bidding now under 50, and then one at 50. We just got that fill, and then one in front of 22.50, and then we'll try to hold. Intel has been known to have some imbalances every now and then, so if we do get close to 350, wherever it happens to be, the closest resistance is where my stop gets moved to. That's just a closing imbalance kind of thing. But finally coming in is this market. NVIDIA is down as well, obviously, and this is sort of the reason why I didn't get into Amazon long. I thought Amazon was a relatively strong stock. It just never actually set up the long trade. There was no break of the high. There was no break of the trend. There was no reason to get into it. I might like the fact that it was relatively strong. And I loved the fact that I had this trend on the daily and it was bouncing off lows on that trend line, but they just couldn't break out the top. So what are you going to do? If it doesn't set up, you don't have to take it. You can like a stock in a general direction, but it still has to give you a reason to get in. I just saw nothing that was giving a reason to get in the long. I might have taken a long had it broken that high, and then maybe it would have been a loser. Thankfully, it never gave that setup. All right, I'm moving from 50 to just take this out on the, take a little bit more out on the bounce, so I'm only 20% left on Intel. Trying to take some 57s. Adara.
Note on AAPL here as we head into the end of the trading day. We have Bloomberg reporting that the company is preparing a new iPhone SE and upgraded iPad Air that'll set to be released early next year. Also noting that apparently they're aiming to manufacture these new models and keyboard for release. So yeah, there looks some manufacturing here prepared for the release of these new iPhone SE and iPad Air again, early 2025, guys. Bloomberg.
Early 2025, I like that.
Not really moving, but still like it.
Yeah, still like it. All right, we're just going to sit here. I mean, we've talked about this. We have a huge move now. We have a dollar club. I mean, it's on the TQs, so there it is, man. Obviously, when you look back, you're like, oh, man, why don't I have my full position? But we did pretty good on it. Intel also, we got a 54 fill. That was pretty good. Here is said TQQ position, and there is the move down. So we are actually now, ooh, what am I doing, Sean? We are at the 200 period. All right, my guy. That is an out for you. We'll put a bid. No, come down. We did put a bid. Maybe we put the wrong bid. We got to put maybe a better price. Let's see if we can get this back inside now. We just put a 34 fill. All right, maybe it's coming in. Maybe it's coming in. I do want to punch this out if we don't get it. 35s. Give me 34. I don't know why we're bidding there. Come on, one more move downside. I might just punch this out right now. I'm only trying to take out a piece. There it is. Okay, there you go. We take out a piece there. We got some 37s. I'll tell you exactly what we got in a second. Whoa, we got 39, so not great. Oh, no. Now it comes back in. That's okay. So we'll take a piece out right there. We just a little impatient. We would have got our 34s, but we pay 39s. Nice downside push for the TQQs. It's almost 100 handles now in the money. It might even be. It is 90 handles right now in the money for this trade. So let's go, man. Intel is now 20 cents in. We've talked about that. That's printing here into the close as well. Man, oh man, what a difference a day makes. We were really like itching here on the open to try to find some good trades because we were caught long all the time. But then we just flipped it up. we said this, man, a battle of, story of 2 days, battle of different days. You got to sort of break it out, wait for your trading opportunities. We nailed that futures trade like to the wall. And this Intel trade, like I said, my number one stock was something that we just started trading with all of you an hour ago, less than an hour ago. So far, so good there on Intel. Hopefully we get a little bit of a bigger move to the downside right now. That's what I'm waiting for. Come on, Intel, bring it on down even more than that. But we're almost out of everything on the Qs. That was a great move for us. We got filled up all the way down. We talked about bidding in the 60s. And now we just like, what? We're at the 200 period. We'll take that. We have about 15% left of this trade, hoping for a little bit of a bigger move now.
Yeah, that's about. I got 20% left, and I think this is till the team balances at this point. So we got 10 minutes to go until the imbalances drop on us. I don't think there's anything specifically that we should care about today. That said, you know what the events were of today. If there happens to be like an energy name, that would be my lowest hanging fruit guess. Like something like an Oxy might end up on that imbalance locator. You never really know, but there's nothing on the early look. Oxy was already there for $1 million to the sell side. I pulled it up. It was headed higher. So it is what it is. We're going to hold into the imbalances. I saw a couple of questions in the chat. One of them, which we didn't get to, there's a few about Snowflake in particular. There we go. Load up. I want to show you on the daily. Snowflake is one of the names that I've been waiting very, very patiently for it to make the rounded bottom and regain the 50-period moving average. So anytime I talk about this, it's in the same context. It continues to hold the low. It has yet to break out the local bottom, which is about 117 here, and then the 50 periods at 118.5. So I feel like that is, once it can do that, hold above or close above and then open above the 50-period moving average, I think it's one that's trying to go. But how many tech stocks have we talked about that have been making highs or adjacent to the highs or buying it close to the highs? This has been trending down for quite some time, Snowflake. So it's a bit of a rounded bottom that needs to happen. The last time it was above the 50. It was a big fail at that price, obviously. It needs to make a rounded bottom before I get into it. But it is a stock that I've been looking for a trade on because it keeps teasing that it's going to break out this channel at the bottom.
All right, well, we're taking more outs on Intel. So we have enough bullets to fire here. So we're just going to keep on doing that. We take another out there at 60. I do have a bigger bid. I might as well cancel that because I'm starting to get filled everywhere right now. My big bid was at 53s right there. I'll put another bid at 55 and then put another one down here at 50 and then wait to see if we get filled on Intel. So that's what we're kind of waiting for. So there it is. So we were waiting at 53. We got 54s already or 55s. And then a 57 and then a 60. So now we'll wait to see if we get a little bit more of a push back in on that name. I sure am hoping that we do. So that would be that. NVIDIA, Intel, Google was the mistrade for me today. We were long right there, got stopped out. Oh, well, this happens, and it happened to me. So that was really sucky. And we made some money back in on the short there, but Google really strong. This was a name that we had written down on our sticky note. I really like this play. But at the end of the day, we did have that situation this morning where the market really fell down. And not much for us to do there. Crypto 62, wow, that's really getting hit. Unfortunately, anybody invested in Mara, isn't it just so funny? And look, this is not throwing shade at Michael Noss or anybody like that. He came on again yesterday morning and said crypto breakout trade was looking absolutely strong and we were long everything crypto. Well, if that is the case, you're smoked over the last couple of days. Now, maybe he got out. We'll have to figure it out. I'm not, again, just showing you that sometimes charts will look great and then completely fall down. So here's the call that Bitcoin's breaking out, $38. Here it is at 35 again. So there's the pullback in, like this is multiple times. Stuff like this has happened on crypto where it looks like it wants to go. But at the end of the day, we still are kind of getting lower here on crypto. So I don't know.
I'm surprised he'd be in because this
very,
channel
very
hasn't
rough
broken. Line
there. But crypto right now is starting to get to the downside.
Yeah, the trend lines are up to the eye of the beholder, I guess. Because what's weird, I almost never have trend lines on my trading view on Bitcoin. I have the 64 in there because I was making a point about it the other day. But no, like this one from the high, like it's not even close to breaking this trend. So I guess it's this local high in here into the trend line break. But I think like it needs to take 70 would be the top of this trend line breaking out. That's a ways, like 10% away. don't get me wrong, like it's kind of like a bull flag with lower highs and lower lows. So it's a slight descending trend line that it needs to break to me. So I guess it's in the eye of the beholder, but it lines up pretty cleanly. Like all of these on the daily chart, like the first 4, and then actually 5 times it tagged it, you've got the trend line there, and the last one didn't even get close to it. I think that would be exciting, but again, it has to get there. And it's not just Mara. Coin. Yeah, how about Coin today? This was a huge miss. I had no clue. I was not looking at Coin in the middle of the day. I didn't even realize it went 10% down. This bounced pretty much exactly off $160 and a 10% move when SSR did the volume bottom. Like, it did everything that you wanted. There's the biggest volume wick in the middle day, breaking the low of the day, then put in the higher low, and then broke it out, and then retraced to VWAP. That's like the gold standard of what you want for an SSR trade, where there's nothing crazy about it. There's it running the bottom, holding the 60 level. There's your entry on the break, probably like 161.25. Your local bottom is not even the 160, and it runs all the way to 167. So when something is 10% down, it doesn't usually look that clean. But yeah, kudos to anybody that might have been looking at Coinbase today. Unfortunately, like I liked Mara for a short, but everything just dropped right away at the open. I like Mara for a short where we liked it yesterday at 16.6. At the open, it was breaking like 15.6 very quickly, $1 lower. Taking it on the chin, 7% as well. It probably had an SSR bounce too, but Coins was much cleaner.
Only a few minutes left until we get these imbalances. So welcome everybody to the show. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe if it's your first time here. And thank you for all the positive comments in the chat. I mean, I just saw someone say the chat was kind of cool. So that is always nice to see.
It is cool.
All right, so on our board today, NVIDIA, Google, Tesla, TQQs, Apple. Apple actually went for a little bit of a jog there, I thought. Yeah, so it did break VWAP. I don't think it was, I mean, Adair sort of dropped some of that news there about 2025, the new iPad or the new OS or new features or things like that. That's not going to move the needle. We're still waiting for those delivery numbers. Today we get some negative talk, of course, about Apple and some of their suppliers and parts being sort of not downgraded, but supply maybe a little bit less than expected. I'll read to you exactly the note. We had it on our Trader TV Live watch list. You can get that every single day, watchlist.tradertv.live. That's not exactly what it is. Go into the link in description and find it. We've changed it over. Trading lower pre-market following a note from Barclays in which the firm suggests, so that means that they're trying to get long. That's why they're bringing it down. Suggests Apple may have cut iPhone, like,
May have.
You have to remember what this is all saying. Like, I'm surprised this isn't Bloomberg, but trading lower pre-market following a note from Barclays in which the firm suggests Apple may have cut iPhone 16 production by 3 million units for the quarter. Barclays suggests that potential production cut indicates potential production cut, not that there is one. The potential production cut indicates weaker than expected demand. Correct. Very good, Barclays. Particularly in the US and in China. That's it. No proof of nothing. No absolutely nothing. Not sources citing nothing. Just this is what Barclays is predicting, a Apple shortage there on demand. So yeah.
Come on.
Guess. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess where Barclays was sitting today buying Apple on their own note to the downside. Did you say 224, 225? You're probably right. So right there, Barclays gets FOMO there. The stock is already all the way up. They're nervous about it. They've got some of their clients asking, why are we not longer on Apple? They say, we'll solve this. Let's put out this report, get Apple to the downside and buy it right back up. So there goes Apple back up to the upside, probably 230 tomorrow when their buddies at Goldman upgrade the thing. So, all right, we'll wait now to see what winds up happening. But for now, we're short on Intel. We're short on the TQQs, and tomorrow Apple's higher than where it is right now.
I'm not 100% sold it'll be, from where it is right now. I mean, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold either way on it. I don't disagree with that note, and that we were skeptical about it. But the way I look at it, does it follow the price action or not? And if it was looking weak, we were playing it to look for that short side of the trade, and it ended up following through. So if it had broken out the top,
the number
I did
one
like
trade
it
on here is Apple short.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying
it's a bullshit.
Yeah, it's like the price action is going to be the story. It's the same thing on any upgrade or downgrade. I just look at it like, if I like the stock breaking out, what was it today? It was it was Roku. Like Roku had a great breakout price at like 80 bucks or something. It just so happened to have an upgrade today. The upgrade didn't get it to the top side. I know it was Roku. We have 1 minute to go till the imbalances are about to drop in here. I have Oxy up. I mean, it's indicating a 1.6 million sell imbalance when Oxy is done. I mean, it's a decent amount. Actually, Oxy's done 22 million. It's a lot of, obviously, Oxy's doing more volume today than on a normal day for geopolitical reasons, but it's still a decent size imbalance. If it ends up bigger than this, I think there might be a little bit of a trade. It's at the highs. Usually I prefer it would be the other direction and do like a bamboozle at the high of the day. So you're getting a sell imbalance at the highs, which is kind of expected. So looking for an opportunity that maybe it could pull into VWAP. You're at a resistance level as we speak, $53.50. It doesn't hurt that oil futures are going to be closed at the moment. So you might get a little bit less volatility, then giving you a better chance if this does end up a bigger imbalance than this 8 million that it's indicating. I've tightened my stop up on Intel to the low 60s here with the imbalances looming in about 15 seconds as well.
So I don't have any stop on Intel. We're almost out of absolutely everything. We absolutely murdered it. Intel will be your #1 P&L name today across myself, Neil, Sharif, and Joseph. So big time trading there for Intel. And it was just off this. So there it goes, man. Nice play. We just got out before.
5 million NVIDIA sell.
All right, we just got out of Intel there before this even happened. So
buy.
We have very.
Buy.
Buy. Okay, so there you go. I'll call it up for everybody. Right now, let's get rid of the broker account, and we'll have a quick look over here to what's happening there. It is we're showing the imbalances here. NVIDIA bid, Intel bid. So we actually cleaned out. We got some 55s there. Great trade on that one. We have like 2% left, maybe not even. Oxy with a sell. We talked about some oil names there. This is at $53. That's probably a sell. Pfizer with a buy. There's Amazon with a bid behind it. Not doing much. These are small numbers. Normally you're looking for multiple. A milli, but right now
NVIDIA's
we only have one. Yeah, NVIDIA, that would be something.
It went
4 million shares on NVIDIA is nothing.
30 cents. Well, it was 5.6 and then immediately paired to 3.9. I'd say like 5 seconds went off and that started pairing off. Oxy didn't come out bigger. It came out smaller. So I wanted to see, like, it was expected 1.8. Interesting if it comes out bigger than the expected because it's done 22 million. Obviously, there's extra volume on Oxy today, as we were mentioning. So Intel came at a bid. I just trailed out of it there. So it did get to VWAP. It did pull off a little bit there. Is Amazon? No, never mind. FFTB in the chat just said Amazon buy. And my first thought was, is Amazon going to break out? No. Amazon maintains the slowest downward channel
of all time.
Yeah, it's a very strange afternoon for Amazon. It goes from, like, you tell me, like, what do you see here? Like, you have a very great bottom, big pair, like, strong move up, higher low, acceleration, break here, acceleration, get to the high. Market spent all afternoon trying to break out over 20,000, and it's just absolutely stalled. It's like it went into quicksand or something when it tried to go green. And then throw on top of that I love the fact that it's holding the trend line on the daily. So I'll come in tomorrow looking at this 183.5, which oddly enough, hold on a second. I'm going to fail out of myself for this. 183.5, trend line bottom, Amazon 183.5. Now, granted, it wasn't until it was down there for about an hour, 2 hours that it looked any good off of that long, but it did hold the line on Amazon. So yeah, 183.5 is something on Amazon. I'm going to make sure we mark that one down. Big hold. It's a trend bottom as well. With only 7 minutes to go, we're out of Intel. There wasn't a good imbalance on Oxy. At least I didn't think it was a good imbalance on Oxy, so not really going to take anything new on that trade. And NVIDIA already paired off and is heading back into the downside. Like, NVIDIA paired a third of that imbalance, and that up move, which was, as I said, 70 to 28, so call it 50-cent move, it retraced over half of it and is still hanging out right in the middle of the move. So no big move on that buy imbalance on NVIDIA.
All right, I'm just going to get out of 67s there on Intel. We had 5% left, less than that. And now we're going to wait to see about these TQs. I'm going to give it out to 60s. If it breaks back above 60, fine, but this is going to be a good close for us, man. Like I said, we found our stock. We put Intel on the board and absolutely destroyed this where it is going to be P&L #1. So proud of that one for sure. The TQs, I'm very proud of this trade. And the reason why we're proud is not because of the money that we made. That's good. I mean, that's nice. But it's just more about what we talked about. we got stopped out there of 75% of our trade. And then we could see clearly again. And then that allowed us, then all of a sudden we were just like, man, look at this. Oh, we're doing this? No problem. You know, we saw that we were stuck in a zone. And we were like, okay, if we're going to get stopped out, let's break it out up here. Let's put on the right amount of shares and be able to hold this. And there it is right there, man. It is now a Dollar Club member and really, really adding to sort of the net P&L here at the end of the day. People ask me, and then Adam says this as well. We talked about this when we have our meetings and stuff. We want to trade things and we want to show you the right way to trade and also be able to change the way that we trade as well and get better for the current markets. And honestly, you guys have asked for more futures trading. I put on the futures hat and bang, it comes right in right there and there it goes. Huge trades now on the futures. I mean, this is one of the best things I've traded in a long time. The TQQs, like we're starting to make a lot of money by making some great calls, but a lot of it has to do with the holding, right? We're able to sit there. Oops, I canceled my Intel trade, not this one. I'm out of Intel. We need to put a bid down here. It's been able to hold these trades and really get this kind of a push back on the market. So especially in these kind of markets, know the market that you're in. You're getting a lot of big moves. So scalping out is great, it's fine, but I scalp out when I'm in danger. We're trying to hold on to plays and give us these kind of moves, right? So like right here, just for example, earlier on we took 150 handles. Right now, this trade would be short at 2070s. It's at 19,970. So this is another 100 handle winner. So if you're trading the futures, there it is right now. We'll only have 100 handles on our last like 15%, but it's still a great trade, and we took it, right? So part of winning is actually taking trades, and that's what we did right there. We talked about it. We put some money down, and there it goes. TQQ, good one to end the day off for me. That's the only thing we have left on. You have nothing left. So
yeah, Intel just broke VWAP oddly enough. So what happened at 55 there? 800,000 to the buy side. That was a pretty decent move actually just there, but nothing on the imbalance. My first thought was when I saw that pop, oh, it must have actually grown on the imbalance, possibly not paired off. But it did pair most of it off, but it's going to VWAP anyways. Gorev just pointed out, I mean, some things are, we joke about some of these stocks. So you were talking about the weed names, right? And we joke about the things that trend down. Rivian broke the low of the day at the end of the day. And since that flat bottom break, there's been a couple of up days on the stock. Don't get me wrong. But it's still taking the stairs down to $10 here. So 10 is an obvious level of support on Rivian. I mean, it's not just that it lined up on the chart. It's also a nice round number. It'd be kind of perfect if it got there on a Friday, but I feel like it's going to get there tomorrow on Rivian. And then there's probably another flat bottom break going on that one. Just the trend is to the downside. It's a short till it isn't. And at this point, it still is on RIVN. Like it's easy enough to see, but then you come in every single day, look for a short setup. It might not be there. You can like it like Amazon. I thought Amazon was kind of strong this afternoon, looking for a long setup. It wasn't there. Rivian, there were plenty of opportunities to get short. I think tomorrow you're going to have another chance to do so. So with only 3 minutes to go, I'll double check just to see what Oxy ended up doing at the end of the day. Still holding. I like the fact that it didn't dump at the close. So I think it might be a bit of a nice continuation play for tomorrow. We saw what the oil names did. This felt like it was the one for me. It bounced off the 50 level, broke out a little bit on the daily, held a lot of its strength in there. So I think it's Oxy that I'll look at. Obviously Indo as well, but Indo's a squeeze name that I think you take advantage of when the trend is starting to establish itself and it's starting to go. I think it's okay to be involved in this one. For the continuation play, I mean, Oxy is a good company. I really don't know anything about Indo, to be honest with you. I just know when energy goes up, if you catch it early, you can get a bit of a win. But after that, I'd rather play one of the more established names. I'll look at Oxy tomorrow.
I put a bid at 69.25 here on the Nasdaq, seeing if we can get that fill. I mean, I'm hoping we can. Our stop is going to be 69.60. So like right now, we're just playing kind of 1-to-1 with favored to the downside with a little bit more than that, like a 1.5 to 1 or so, if we do get that 25 fill. So I'm going to sit here and wait to see if that's available for us or not. But that's the kind of bid that I'm looking for right now on this Nasdaq trade. And it's been a really good one. So we'll just wait to see on that. Like Neil said, Intel makes that move up. Google probably continues. No, actually, Google does make a fall back in right now. So I guess as the futures fall down, as does Google. So a nice little move there for GOGL back in. We'll have to trade this tomorrow. I mean, this was a good trade for us today. And as we said before, we had Apple written down here as our #1 sell today. But the problem is that just it got going real early, and I was uncertain of if the move was because of that or if it was because of geopolitical worries. And it looks like Apple at the end of the day will cover and sit at VWAP. So nobody wins today, whether or not you're buying or selling above or below VWAP when it closes at VWAP. So we'll wait to see what this does make, if there's any moves here into the close. With less than now 45 seconds to go, I got to get over to the desk and make some moves, but I'm still in this TQQ trade. So, hey man, let's just put a bid. We're almost going to get it. Yep. Let's just put a bid right here and get it out at 32. There it is, man. 120 handles to end the day on the TQQs.
There we go, and thank you very much, Fabian. I'm not going to forget it. We'll let Sean mosey on out of that one. Hey, you could always just... No, you're already out of it.
I've already punched out.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a difference. I was going to say, like, here we have the ability sometimes to go into the auction, but it's also very late. Like, there's timing on it. But the bell, Tuesday's bell, brought to you by Firefly Neurosciences, revolutionizing brain health, brought to you by them, and shout out to them. Dara, ring it off. It's been a wild, wild day in the markets. You had a little bit of everything today. I mean, we're talking geopolitical news. It's weird. I mean, as Sean was mentioning at the end of the session there, so I have KWeb up because it was the last thing Fabian was mentioning. Don't look at KWeb. I'm like, I don't know why we wouldn't look at it. But I'm going to make you a comment about this in a quick little second. No, we started out with a note on Apple that had it weak. And then all of a sudden we had geopolitical news kind of rule the day and take everything to the downside. Now, in the midst of all that, look at KWeb today. You know, the Chinese, it was early on in the day. And one of the cool things about it is we always talk about it like at 10 o'clock or after, as the opening range is being set, look for some things that are able to show you relative strength and weakness. I think early on when the market did that dip, you had higher low, and I like trend lines. I picked the wrong one, so I have to do it myself. No, but this held on to the trend very well on KWeb. Now, whether that was your flavor or whether Alibaba was, can you see the difference between KWeb and Alibaba? I mean, I don't necessarily. It's a very slight difference. So there's a reason why we look at Alibaba, and it's for that reason. So, you know, KWeb, PDD had a very good day as well. These were pretty much immune. If you were long these in the morning or you're long energy in the morning, like Oxy, Indo, anything, or just oil futures, you were laughing and not having to fight the trend to the downside. There's a bull market every single day in something. Could be reverse ETF, so when the market goes down, you're betting on that, and that goes upside. But there's always something that's going to be trending. You just have to do the work to find it. Big shout out, as always, to Fabian and Ramin on the ones and twos. And thank you, Fabian, for reminding everybody how well the Chinese ADRs did today. Obviously, a great and big shout out to the midday crew. Great job there. Not just Joe and Sharif, but to have Adam come on and drop some knowledge about algos, I thought was absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Dara, taking over on the desk and getting us that news from Brennan, doing a great job as she always does. Shout out to everyone in the chat. But you know what time it is. I think we have Nike earnings, and it's a Tuesday, so that means we should have Brian Shannon on, which I'm 99% sure about. We usually have him on there. And then Nike earnings, they were very strong today. I'm hoping it makes that breakout. Would love to see 100 print on it. But for now, let's take it to the desk. Nike earnings, Mr. Katina, and your market recap. Let's go.
Here. We're always ready. As long as the mic is on, we're ready to go. Thank you, Neil, for that one. We'll wait to see here. Wow, KWeb. I mean, we were just looking at that with Fabian over here today. What a great move upside for China one more time here today. Wow. I'm actually like over the moon with all of this. I am very, very surprised that such a major index like all of China right now. Look at this. This is large cap ETF. You wouldn't have thought this could move like this. Imagine you had a large cap ETF in the United States. You would not get like a 5-day move from 27 to 33. I mean, that's 15%, almost straight up to the upside, and still going higher and higher and higher. Thank you so much for the super chat right here. And this is important, man. I have so much respect for you guys. Thousands of innocents in Gaza and Lebanon dying. Yeah, we know all about that, and we wish for the best in all of this. I mean, the show will go on as we'll continue to talk about everything that moves the markets, right? It's not meant to be anything political by any stretch of the imagination. So we will figure that out right now. But yeah, nice move up there for China today. Uranium, as we go, we'll talk again, talking more about some of the uncertainties and unsettlement there in the geopolitical landscape. I mean, oil upside, China upside on their own stimulus. There's USO. There it is, up 3 and a bit percentage points there as well. Today's big moves, right, largely escalated with the ongoing Middle East conflict, right? And that started with an oil move upside. That makes sense. OIH, XLE, uranium, all of these big plays today. 2+ percentage points. XOP, again, more petroleum. Gold having themselves a day. Wow, gold. I mean, gold right now near and at all-time highs. GLD continuously going higher and higher. That's a great move. But today was a pretty mixed day. We did have a lot of sectors to the upside. We're going over some of those. They're not going to be the sectors that you like if you are an equity shareholder, because most of these plays, again, going to be in the metal space, going to be in the energy space, and then, of course, TLT with rates back in mind. That was upside over 0.5% today on TLT. What got hit today? Again, not just interest-sensitive things, because I think the interest rates game has already played out. We already know what's going to happen. But as some of these moves go to the upside, you're going to get some of the weaker names, of course, losing out today. We saw Palantir going to the upside. We did hear some talk, again, about more military contracts. That makes sense for defense. Again, we can see what's happening in this world. Palantir upside, but ARC down. That was bad. Individual banks, right? They're going to start reporting next week, I believe, or 2 weeks Friday, week Friday actually coming through. We'll have to wait to see $55 right now for KRE as the regional banks make a downside play there as well. So huge move down there for KRE. Look at it giving it back, man. There's been a lot of people, we'll talk about it with Andrew Rader, I think, this week when he comes on Thursday, that like the KRE. That's big time failing, right? IWM as well. Failing off the top. That's making a move back in. So a lot of these sectors that we thought were interest rate sort of gems hidden there are turning out to be coal mines. Nice downside move there for IWM. And we talked about this. We had Michael Noss on just yesterday, really loving crypto and saying he's overrated crypto. Now we have 3 straight down days now for crypto. So let's wait to see. Caught on an island over the weekend. Now a downside push, trying to break through the 50-period moving average goes the crypto markets now again. Today's market drop, I mean, we can go with the triple Qs right now. Let's just go over. I always have this marked down, daily and weekly now. We don't need to see the weekly. Let's go over to like a 3-minute chart or so for this one. I said 3 minutes, not weekly. There it is right now. Okay, so here's the market to the downside. It all started with Apple. Apple came out today. We just sort of throw some shade at this, but Barclays there with their prediction that there's going to be lesser iPhone sales, right? Less demand coming through. They said 3 million units. That sent Apple to the downside. So we'll have the triple Qs early. But there's Apple today. There's the report. Apple was cruising, man, 233, near all-time highs. All-time highs for Apple, 237. But what winds up happening is, womp womp, downside push there. Apple makes that move back in there. And as you can see, huge move back in for Apple. Started early, continued as the market opened up. But the broader story, again, the broader story today is right at 9:30, Axios posted that U.S. and Israeli officials had, I'm just reading this, indications of an imminent attack on Israel. So that imminent attack on Israel actually wound up happening. Over 100 missiles from Iran sent to Israel there today. Apparently, most of those missiles hit out in the middle of the air, so that's good. Not too much, from what we're seeing, damage or lives lost on that. But defensive stock and energy stocks, we could look at LMT, Lockheed Martin, again today. Look at this move, almost a complete opposite of what we saw from Apple and the rest of them. Lockheed Martin, huge move, up 5%. I mean, look, as the world, unfortunately, starts to unfold here, violence is always going to be part of this story. Lockheed Martin, huge move up, man, over just the last couple months. This goes back to July, 488 up to 606. That name continues to work to the upside. Now, part of what also happened to the Qs, we did get the JOLTS number, other events today. JOLTS higher than expected job reports, right? So that could be good, could be bad. As we wait to see what the Fed's going to do, we can call up the CME Fed rate tool. That'll be happening very, very soon. I don't know if Nike's out yet. Let me have a quick look here to see if Nike's out. This show and our whole, where's my, The Benzinga Pro platform is not even loaded up here, so I'll have to get that going. We'll get the Benzinga Pro platform up and get the Nike earnings for you immediately. But here's Nike on the daily chart. Its implied move is over 7%. So I don't think it's out yet. That looks like a fat finger trade to me, but we will wait to see if Benzinga Pro platform gives us this Nike number. It's loading up for me right now. We'll get it when it comes through. Benzinga, no, we do not have Nike out yet from what I'm seeing. So this is the platform that we're using. As soon as it comes out, we will get Nike for you. Yeah, the chart's not that bad though. That's the thing. Yeah, I don't see Nike out. You guys tell me if Nike is out yet or not. So this is not a big move. Ramin right there. So down to 88, back up right now, $89. We'll wait to this. This is an implied move by Adair. This is an implied move of 7% right now on NKE. Let's wait to see what we get. I'm still waiting. My wife's going to message me here at some point as well because she's going to be taking an Uber to come down to see us. We do have a charitable event tonight, a cancer event there, fundraiser for one of our good friends. So we're going to that there tonight. That should be a lot of fun as Grandma comes through. And I told Grandma already, it's shawarma party time all the time. So I think my daughter's going to try to convince Grandma to go get a shawarma. And I just told my mother, that shawarma, she knew what it was, but just like a chicken wrap. So right there, so they're going to go get that tonight. That should be fun. But there goes Nike. We will have it. Let me put this down to a minute chart just to give you guys a little bit of a look if and when Nike comes out. I do have it up on the other side. You guys tell me if there is any news about Nike. I'll be checking in the chat there as well. So again, Jets ETF down 1.25% today as that continues to move again, as some flights, again, stopped going to the Middle East, so on and so forth. I don't think that's a big, huge part of the Jets story. More for me is fuel. Fuel's come way down. Energy prices, we talked about that. As energy prices pull back, we do expect the airlines and the cruise lines to be beneficiaries of that. That's also helping out the China trade. Don't forget, man, China with manufacturing, huge over there. So as expenditures and the variable costs start to come back down, you're going to see more profits coming through on the Chinese manufacturing side of things, thus helping out their economy. That's just another headwind right there coming through. So, all right. Is Marissa decorating Halloween? Yeah, probably. Our whole household there, we do have a nice little decoration there for. The only problem is we're actually away at a tournament the very next day. So I don't know how intense that will get, but that's what we're doing right now. A couple kind of funny tweets that we had. We can post that in a couple minutes, talking about what we've been tweeting out here. And again, I had a good one there about China. I just want to show it to you right here. I think it was Adara that actually gave it to me here. Here it is right here. China short sellers, margin call incoming right now. So make sure you do check that out right now. We have a couple good tweets. Brian Shannon also with a couple good ones coming through as well. We'll get his thoughts right now. He actually had a tweet about the Mag 7, so we're going to ask him about that. And it was right here. When Brian comes on, he compared visually here, visualize key stock metrics to see how the Magnificent 7 companies compared to the top stocks from the 2000 tech bubble. So let me see if I can maybe, oops, I actually clicked on it there. So here it is right now. So this is actually, I actually saw this before. So thanks, Brian, for doing that right now. This is the Mag 7 in 2000 for the tech bubble, right? So as you're going to look here, this is what it looked like back in the day. Maybe I'll zoom back out of this. Yeah, there we go. Does that still look okay? Hopefully for you guys, it does. So right here, this is percent of US market cap. That doesn't even matter. For me, it's look at these forward PEs, right? So if you're going to look right now, so this is the Mag 7 right now, right? The aggregate PE of all of these stocks, the top 7 stocks right now, are you guys able to, maybe if I zoom in just a little bit more, I'll be, okay. So it's 23.9. This is the forward PE right now of all Mag 7 stocks. Look what it was back when we had the 2000 tech bubble, 52. Okay, so the prices were well extended. Look at this interesting thing too. Cash as a percentage of market cap, 4.2%, 1.7%. So we talk about the bank structure. They have to be more capitalized now so that we don't have the run on those banks. That house of cards there, not the CDRs. I keep thinking about that. That was the Canadian depositories. But as we fall back down in on those housing, we had a problem there because they couldn't fund all of those loans. Right now, cash on hand for the big guys, 4.2%. That's a good one. Also, percent of U.S. market cap, 31% versus 19. So right now, much more focused on these top stocks. And I would say that's a problem. But the thing is, we're in good hands because right now, the market PE is around 22. So the top 7 right now holding out pretty good for us. What's this last one? Net profit margin, 28% versus 16. So not only are they making more money, but they're also keeping in their pocket. So shout out to Brian Shannon for pointing that out. I did want to talk to him about it, although I kind of just went over it. We'll see his opinion right now on all of that as Brian comes. I want to thank everybody for the follow too. We just hit over 48,000. Hopefully 58 is the next step, their followers. And also, how do you like our new format right now? Check out the top. We have news stories hitting at the top, and then we have our guest at the bottom. And of course, as we start to talk about it, we'll have more and more stocks here on the right side. So I am still not seeing Nike. People asking about when is the time. Let me check my notes, actually. What we had here for a time on Nikes was roughly 4:15. That's 1 minute away. Let's wait to see if we get Nike. I see Brian is ready to go. We'll just wait on this. Maybe we get Nike coming out again. The expected move on NKE is 7.2%. The expected revenue, here, I'll put this in my ear now. We'll see if we can get the Benzinga story to hit. The expected revenue estimate, $11.64 billion. The expected EPS, 15 cents, positive 15 cents. The previous move was down 20% for Nike. So if you go over to the daily chart, gee, I wonder when last earnings were. How about right here? There's that pull down, Brian, in from 94 down to 75 for NKE. I don't know if all gaps get filled, but right now, success is in the eye of the beholder. Nike gap actually fills all the way back to $89. So we're going to wait, man, and we'll figure out this. There it is. Nike's out. So Nike's what? Huge report. They reported 70 cents versus 50 cents. Monster report. Where's my guy Fabian? This guy's retiring ASAP. 11.5 billion on the estimate revenue. Looks like they're going to miss on revenue, but beat on earnings. They're going to go 11.59 on revenue versus 11.64. That's a miss on revenue. Who cares? What about earnings, man? Maybe they're getting all trimmed up right now. There goes Nike up to $92. It's a nice little move upside there for Nike. Here it is on the Benzinga Pro platform. 70 cents as reported by your boy, 70 cents to 52, 11 billion, 11.59 versus 11.65. This is what Nike looks like right now. Let's hear about the guide. New management, though, coming through. They may not guide. Whenever you get a new CEO, you could get a change of the way they operate. So let's wait to see what happens for Nike. Just about flat. So there's the upside beat on the top line. Remember, top line, we get that beat, 70 cents versus 52. But when you look at the bottom there, we're going to get revenues missing right now. So earnings per share, sorry, the other way around. Earnings per share in the bottom line beat 70 cents. We're looking at a miss on the sales side of 11.59 versus 11.65. There it is. There it goes. Nike right back to the upside. North American revenue down 11%. Greater China revenue down 4%. Not as bad as expected. Looks like China revenue only down 4% versus US down 11%. So that's a good little look right there for now. Before we get over to Brian, as I see he's waiting, let's just do a quick little look now at what was moving on the day. So here we go. A quick little look at a stock heat map. Apple down 3, Nvidia down 4, Microsoft down 2, Google. I anointed this one, the next one yesterday. So the fact that Google's up today, hey man, we already upgraded that. Google's chart, to me, the most beat up name, still has moved to the upside. If you get an upgrade or anything positive about Google, I think that name sings, man. Meta also near and at all-time highs, Meta 0.7. Broadcom, some of the chip names, Broadcom down, AMD down. Berkshire, hey man, what's up with that? I just bought some Berkshire, yes, a couple days ago, down 0.62. I like Berkshire. We're not going to panic after 2 days. We're trying to hold things for the long term over there. Amazon down 0.64, but Walmart's up. Costco, my guy, down 1%. What's up with that right now? Consumer non-durables holding out pretty good today with Procter only down 0.9 and Coke only down 0.21. Who cares? It's Trader Talk. Sorry about that, Ramin. That might have been a little quick for you there. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
John, doing good. I don't know how people are trading this Nike. It's all over the place.
It's all over the map, right? We did have that high there of 92 and change. I'm actually not logged in to a live level 2 screen, but yeah, all over the place. I mean, the expected move, 7%, Brian. Looks like it's only going to move a little bit right here. Closing price for Nike, 89. And now we might actually turn red soon in a minute. Nike trying to pull back, but you nailed that one, Brian. All over the map. And I think that's what happens, I guess, when you get an EPS beat, but a revenue miss. So looks like Nike. Anything interesting to you on the charts?
I mean, we've had a decent run off of these lows of September. We've had a nice 15% rally coming into it. We ran straight into the declining 200-day moving average. I think it's doing what it probably should do, which is just to consolidate these recent gains, see if it can rebuild in here, let that 200-day moving average flatten out, and maybe something down the road. But looks like just some profit taking after a nice rally coming into it.
I just tweeted this. Yeah, I mean, great rally. We said that all gaps getting filled. I mean, that gap gets filled. We were down 20% on last earnings, almost all the way back to that 94 level, as you just sort of had mentioned there. All right, I tweeted this out. I don't know if you saw anything like this. You've probably seen something similar. This is actually from Bar Chart. If you come over to the screen here, China short sellers, you have a call, and it is a margin call right now, because if you've been short any of these Chinese names, Brian, it's been a fun ride and not one that you've been enjoying, because nice move up on K-Web. And I was just saying, I don't see many of these major indexes move so violently. I thought the China trade was going to slow down. Seems like it's just picking up.
I've avoided it. You know, it's just not my area. I don't trade Chinese stocks. So congratulations for those of you who are involved. But to me, it's, you know, it's like trading peanut oil. It's just not on my radar. I've always, you know, Sean, if you remember, especially 3-5 years ago, it was that, you know, all these Chinese names were cooking their books, and it was every single day you'd wake up and there'd be a new one that would basically go down 80-90%. So I just kind of put them on my banned list, and it doesn't bother me that I've missed it. It's like they say, it's better to be on the sidelines in cash wishing you were in than it is to be in and wishing you were out if it goes against you, like the short sellers are seeing here.
I was going to say, I mean, because we could always take the other side, right? We could have been caught short. There's nothing wrong with not being into names. I mean, I'm the same way. That's why the only name I've ever invested in was Alibaba, and it's because PricewaterhouseCoopers is their accounting firm, and I know that's a U.S. company, so I was just thinking maybe some legitimacy there, but I am with you on all of that. That's why I thought, like, hey, the Chinese market's going to get bolstered up on this as stimulus. I want to go short, because everything that I've read, man, all the Chinese economic numbers keep coming lower. There's a reason why the stimulus is in there, right? It's to bolster up the economy and get the stock market cooking. I think they've done that. I think the short is coming in pretty soon. I sent you a message last week. You were live on the show. You talked about First Solar. We said, let's talk about a name that maybe we can look at over the next couple weeks. And that was a name that you had just started. And it was a nice breakout. First Solar did have that nice move up. Looks like it's pulling back a little bit here today on FSLR on the daily chart. But yeah, nice little breakout. Looks like it's still intact here. I think we could get going. For me, obviously, a 50-period moving average would be something to look at. Any opinions on FSLR? I didn't peruse through your Twitter to see if you had updated this, but anything on FSLR that you want to update?
You know, here's another stock I think should be on my banned list, Sean.
Okay.
I bought it on Tuesday of last week. Wednesday, it came in, and then I got stopped out of it. And then it gapped up on Thursday, and I'm just done with the stock. I took a small loss in there. In fact, this is where I think I told you I bought it.
Yep.
That's where my stop was. I got stopped out, and then the next day it gapped up like that. It's good to see it back down. It doesn't make sense for me.
Right.
I haven't traded it well. It hasn't agreed with my analysis. So on to the next one for me.
Look, Brian, I think that so now I kind of feel bad, because I know that I slid into your DMs there and I was like, nice First Solar trade. And then you got out. So I do. But the thing is you and I, again, I think you're the biggest guest on the show that talks about this risk management. And I think that we have to manage risk, and especially when we're on a prop floor or even trading your own money. If something doesn't work and your targets are hit both on the upside and the downside, you know, we salute that. So I salute you on that one, and the honesty about that call as well. All right, let's go over your Twitter account just quickly. I think this is kind of cool. You tweeted out this Mag 7 comparison here. I think that's awesome. I think that actually shows that maybe we do have a little bit more to go here, a little bit of strength in the market. The reason why, what got my attention, if you come over to the screen right here, Ramin, was just the fact that we talked about this, the tech bubble now versus the 2000s. And I think this is very important that you tweeted it out. For me, it's this PE number, 23.9 versus 52. What about this got you sort of cooking? I see your tweet out here about visualizing it. Anything interesting in here that you want to talk about?
Sure. I mean, I didn't put that together.
Right.
That was the people over at Visual Cap. But I thought it was interesting for the same reasons you said, Sean, is, the PE is lower and
Right.
people do look at that. And look at those profit margins. They are, 28% versus 16%. So, they're just making money hand over fist. The margins are insane. That, to me, is what the story is about there. So they're still showing growth rates and the PE ratio, it tends to be late, but they're not overvalued in that measure right now.
I mean, that was a forward-looking 24 PE. But you know what bothered me? And I just want to get your opinion on this. If we go over to this sheet again, by visualcapitalist.com, as you mentioned there, the aggregate right now in the percent of the U.S. market cap, this is the one thing that gets me going a little bit. All 7 of these companies, it's 31.3% as opposed to back in the 2000s. And again, and I know there's probably double the amount of companies that are out there and more money flowing into different sectors, but 31 versus 19. No concern there that maybe we're a little bit too weighted to these top 7 companies? Is that why we should look at an equal weight, or any opinions on that? And then we'll get off this topic.
I think, Sean, that, people get a little hung up on, equal weight or versus market cap weight versus, whatever other weighting they have out there. But it's all comes down to managing risk in each individual stock. That stuff's all good, back of the baseball card statistical information, but does it actually help you when you're looking at a chart to make money? So those tweets are kind of what I put in the department of interesting, but not really helpful.
Right.
They're not going to help me manage risk. I saw you were mentioning Apple. I came into Apple long today. I was long at 229. Took a third off yesterday for a gain of $1.50 just to reduce risk in case something like this happened. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, got out of the balance at break even. So I was able to make a 50 cent on average on the 2/3 position. But, if I still had held it, I'd be down, $3.18 right now. So to me, it's always about just, peeling a little bit off when they work in your favor, raising the stop, and then, moving on from one stock to another, regardless of where it is in that top 7, top 8 list.
All right. I agree. I'm not too concerned about all that market cap weight. I mean, every time we buy the SPY or the Qs, we're just adding fuel to the fire there. And I think that's fine. Let the index weighters figure it all out, man. Kick out the bad companies, put the good ones in, and just let us trade them is the way I'm thinking about it. All right. So you talked about Apple. Nice move to the downside there as we get a little bit. I always hate when I read stories like that from Barclays. Like, they're predicting 3 million, outflow of iPhone units. Like, as if, like, that's a nice prediction. Tomorrow you'll probably get someone else the other way, and the stock will react to that, which is why I feel like catalysts, to me, is what we have to look at, and we have to be considering those at all times. Do you have any information on recent splits? We actually talked about this. I don't know if you've seen the chart of SMCI lately. It's not a name that you and I normally talk about, but if we're going to come over to my screen, I'll let you load it up. This name just splits today. So it just went 10-1. It used to be a $400 name. Today's the first day traded, October 1st, under the new name. And I was saying, I'm under the impression that I remember NVIDIA split around 120. We touched 117 or 118 that very next day. Because again, there's a lot of traders that will buy stock ahead of splits, hoping that, hey, we'll get a little bit of a carry forward. I always feel like it's the other way around. I don't know about you. I don't want to trade a name at least a week or two after it splits, and we can get comfortable with current price levels. Opinions on stocks that split?
Like they say, it's just like, do you take the pizza and cut it into 4 pieces or 8 pieces? It's still the same.
Or no pieces.
At the end of the day. But, someone pointed this out. I hadn't been paying attention to it. Someone on Twitter pointed out to me that the anchored view app from the IPO is being tested in SMCI. That goes all the way back to 2007. So kind of like our 40-year anchor in Intel, maybe this is going to prove to be valuable information for SMCI.
40-year anchor. We're never going to let that down, right? I mean, I cannot believe that one time I was like, this guy does not have an anchor, and we called up a 40-year anchor there on VWAP. Let me just check in. There's some traders asking here on our on our chat about Nike. So let's just come over to the screen here. So there goes Nike, man. It looks like it is going to be a fail there, Brian. Nike goes underneath the close right now, near the low of the, is it of the day? Let me just quickly see. How low did Nike go today? Let's call up a 10-minute chart. Yeah, so we're actually near that low right now off the open for Nike, around $88. It looks like we did wick down to 87. So yeah, it looks like we're right about this one. Let sleeping dogs lie. I mean, this stock hasn't been traded that well. Of course, it gets the bump up there on new CEO and some activist talk and interest. So Nike right now not really delivering the goods on their earnings report. Nice move to the downside. Thank you, Donnie Zimbabwe, a member for over 11 months in the chat right there, trades options. When we talk about some of these stocks, you ever in options, or is it mainly just the equity itself that you dabble in?
No, I do some of the options. I'll use them as a, just a straight up bet. Basically, if I perceive there's maybe a little bit more risk in the market, but I want upside in a stock, I'll go to maybe some call options out a week or two. And something that's kind of been intriguing, Sean, that I've been trading a little bit more often is these levered ETFs. I did a tweet this morning about Microsoft, how the chart was actually looking like maybe it wanted to hold that 20-day moving average and the anchor off of the all-time high, but it failed here this morning. But if you want to trade Microsoft, you could also trade MSFU. I didn't say FU to you, Sean.
I was going to say, what did you say, Brian?
What's that?
What did you say, Brian? My hand's on the cancel button.
Yeah, MSFU, that's the symbol.
Okay, I got it.
Anyways, MSFU is 2 times the percentage movement. So today, this MSFU was down 4.3%, and Microsoft was down 2.2%. So it gets, the sword cuts both ways. Yep. I think I said that in my tweet, that if you're looking for leverage, you also have MSFD, which is for down. But those are, sometimes other ways of outlaying less capital. And, trading. Some people aren't comfortable with a higher price name. They'd rather trade a $40 name than a $400 name. So it kind of does the same thing that a stock split does.
Brian, great minds think alike, because you know what? All that we've been trading here, if you come over to the sticky note, we have the screen right here. All I ever trade is the TQQ. So that is the exact same thing. It's triple levered, and it has that price level of 60 and change, now $69, giving people an opportunity to stay away from Nasdaq, which is, of course, is $400 to $500, or the SPY. There's SPXL, so thank you for bringing that up as well. Right here, another name that traders can trade. And that MSFU too is a great stock to trade. I didn't even know about this. TSLL, I'll give you another one right there. 2 times trade for Tesla as well, Brian. So TSLL. But I always get the question, because I used to call this Mr. Softy. Microsoft in the hundreds, the 200s. I used to trade this thing religiously, but now I'm going to get back on it with the MSFU. All right. I see you had some talk there, or maybe you tweeted something about DJT coming through there. It's important because tonight we have, I don't know if it's important or not. People should stop listening to people who think the election is important to the stock market. That's what it was. So not specifically about DJT, but we've been on the show before. The election is something that's going to come and go, whether or not you're on this side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle. Stocks are going to do what they're going to do. You may get a temporary move, but what exactly did you mean? I'm going to read that again. People should stop listening to people who tell you the election is important to the stock market. Did you want to expand on that at all?
Well, sure. I put a link to the podcast that the people over at the Compound, Josh Brown, had.
Right.
I think you're familiar with Paul Hickey from Bespoke.
Yep.
And he's done the research. He's looked at it and said, basically, it doesn't matter whether Democrat or Republican is in office. That you're basically going to get about the same results. And that the top 3 sectors have been the same under both administrations, and the worst sectors have been the same under both administrations. So it's one of these things. It's kind of like seasonality, Sean. We were told last month that September is no good, that the market is going to fail. And we had a great month. We started out weak, but we had a great month. You can't just rely on these generalities, especially for traders. I mean, we've got to trade what's in front of us. And, take into consideration, maybe the odds aren't as great certain times a year, but if the market is telling you, press the gas, that's what you do.
I mean, Brian, I actually retweeted this out here because I was actually at a hockey tournament on the very first it was the first or second day of September, and I was like, man, this seasonality thing is not going to be true this month. I didn't think it was. We had a huge move down the first week of September, but here it is right here, right? Looking at September, a lot of red, especially the last couple. This year, today, there it is, man, 2.39%. We were up this September after the last four. Is the first September in 5 years that we were actually green. And looky what we see in October, Brian, minus 169, minus 2, minus 1, minus 7, minus 3, minus 1, but 7, 6, 1, 2, 8. So maybe the other way around coming for October as many people are getting geared up. Look at November, Brian. We only have 2 red months over the last 15 years. So good little November maybe on the horizon. And guess what, Brian? Election time in November. So there you go. It might mean absolutely nothing. If anything, let's get all bulled up. Brian, I mean, I actually have more to talk to you about, but we gotta cut the show. It's 4:34. I do appreciate you coming through. One more thing though, this DJT, are you watching the vice presidential debate tonight at all? Maybe there might be some small plays tomorrow morning. I don't know. I see you shaking your head.
No, I mean, I'm not a news trader, Sean. I'm not very good at it. So
yeah, me neither.
I have no interest in either of these candidates. It'll just cause me to yell at the TV like an angry old guy. And I don't have room in my life for that.
Well, you look like an angry young guy, so I'll give you that to you right there. Brian, thank you so much for joining. I'm with you on that. I like to watch it for the entertainment. We try not to get too political here. But, I mean, they are eating the cats and dogs everywhere, so you got to remember that as well. So thank you so much to Brian Shannon once again. Oh, you never asked me to do it, but we're doing it anyways. It's Maximum Trading Gains with Anchored View Up. It's always right here. It's a book that's passed around our floor. It's a great one. I want everyone to go to @AlphaTrends. Make sure they pick that up. Brian, thank you so much. You want to leave us with anything? Any other names before we wrap this thing up?
I mean, there's a couple we could look at. I'm not. So you've got TPIC that looks interesting to me. They make wind blades for wind energy.
Oh,
that's one that is tried to get going here today. If it breaks below basically yesterday's low, then I don't have any interest in it. I'm not long the stock right now, but I've got an eye on that one. I've also got an eye on HAYW. Really not sure what they do, but this weekly chart over here, right here actually, looks like it could be getting ready to break out of this stage 1 accumulation on the weekly chart and maybe have some upside. So the daily chart is looking like it's trying to break out here. So those are a couple I have an eye on, but I don't have a position in either of them yet.
It's Brian Shannon. Thank you so much for going over some of those. And I think that's very, very key. Let's trade price action. We don't need to know exactly what the stock does. We just got to have our risk in place, take the right trades. It's Brian Shannon. Thank you so much. Go find him at Alpha. Yep. Thank you, Brian. At AlphaTrends. We'll see you next week. Bye, Brian. All right, thank you to Brian again. I mean, there's even people in the chat right now. They love the book. They've picked up the book. Thank you so much for writing it. I mean, Anchored VWAP is mean a lot to certain traders, and especially just VWAP itself. I trade VWAP all of the time. All right, it's 4:36. If I don't wrap it up now, Ramin is going to be really, really mad. You should see this look she's already giving me right now. It's pretty bad. So thank you, Ramin, for staying late with us. Thank you to everybody today. Neil, Sharif. We had Joe on. I want to thank to Adam as well. Brian. Brendan, that's sitting over there. Brian, who we just had. Some guy named Fabian, I think, works here. He did a good job today as well. Andre and everybody else. Adara, if I missed her as well. Thank you to the whole Trader TV Live team. Another important one. Thank you so much to Bears versus Bulls for moderating for us. It's been a doozy of a day. I promise you, tomorrow will be just the same. So join us then. Enjoy your night, no matter what you're doing. Watch that debate. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. For everybody here at Trader TV Live, I'm Sean Katina, and we'll check you tomorrow. Ciao, everybody.